I stepped out of the box, and I looked out at center field, and I poured it. I said, I'm going to hit the next pitch ball right past the flagpole. Well, the good Lord must have been with me.
2-1 pitch from Shaw into left center. There it is. Rose has eclipsed Cobb. That's number 4,192.
I'm sure Roberto is happy, and he will be always happy, close to our Lord. And I know he will be happy. Excuse me.
2-2 to Harvey Keene. 1 strike away. Sandy into his windup. Here's the pitch. Swung on and missed. A perfect game.
But the mythology in baseball was that if they didn't have the reserve clause to restrain baseball players from moving from one place to the other, then baseball, as we know it today, would no longer exist.
The count 1-1 to Williams. Here's the pitch. Williams swings, and there's a long drive to deep right. That ball is going, and it is gone. A home run for Ted Williams in his last time at bat in the major league.
You gotta start from way down the bottom when you're 6 or 7 years of age. You gotta let it grow up with you. And if you're successful and you try hard enough, you're bound to come out on top, just like these boys have come to the top now.
Hard to believe it's been 10 years.
Group insurance, Adler. Lou, what is this? Employees are going to have the best. But you have no employees. You don't need Adler. You need a decent suit. That's the only trouble with you, Bud. You're afraid to dream.
My business was next door to his. I saw it all. Oh, he took risks, but he'd always take the trouble to learn who was best at something. He'd store that away, and then when he needed it, there was Aetna. They had the strength to back him up. His insurance, his financing, his health plans.
Edna, I'm glad I met you.
Work with the best in the business. That's how Lou does it. Your people, the spirit, all of it, the best.
And one more best, my friend. Best country.
I hate to drive in the rain.
Really? That's when I trust my Michelins the most.
Michelins? You think they're worth it?
Even when the weather's fine, I'm glad I got Michelin tires.
I'd rather save the money.
Some things in life are more important.
Could we take your car to pick up the kids?
I insist.
Michelin, because so much is riding on your tires.
John Updike called it a lyric little bandbox, and it's been home to the Red Sox since 1912, and without a World Championship banner since 1918. The Babe, Tris Speaker, and Jimmy Fox wore Red Sox uniforms here. From this mound, Lefty Grove pitched for Boston, and it was here that Ted Williams authored his 406 season in 41. And Yaz led the drive to an impossible dream pennant in 67. Here, 11 years ago tonight, Carlton Fisk's home run beat Cincinnati. And then 3 years later, a day of decision homer by Bucky Dent broke hearts all over New England. This is Fenway Park, and this is Game 3 of the 1986 World Series. Hello again, everybody. I'm Bob Costas. A surprisingly mild evening for Game 3 as the Red Sox continue their pursuit of their first World Series championship in 68 years. As game time approaches, the temperature is around 60 degrees. Now, the heavily favored Mets, down 0-2, can take some solace from history. Since 1955, 14 times teams have found themselves behind 0-2 after the first 2 games of the series. And on 8 occasions, the team trailing has come back to win it all, including last year when Kansas City climbed off the deck against St. Louis. Trying to breathe some life back into his team, Davey Johnson hands the ball to former Boston left-hander Bob Ojeda tonight. He was 18-5 this year for New York. He's opposed by Red Sox right-hander Oil Can Boyd, who was 16-10. Marv Albert joins us now, and Marv, you had a chance to speak with both these pitchers.
Right, Bob. Both are intriguing subjects. Oil Can Boyd, the focus of national attention for his off-the-field explosives during the course of the season, and Ojeda, as a member of the Red Sox, had rocky moments with both manager John McNamara and also with the Boston Press. Following 5 years with the Red Sox, Ojeda was dealt to the Mets last November, turned it around, the 18 victories, ERA 2.57, easily his best in the major leagues. And he's going against former teammate Dennis Oil Can Boyd, who went through a turbulent season to win a career high of 16 games. It's been a long way back for Boyd, passed over for the All-Star team once again, a mid-season suspension, and then he was voluntarily hospitalized, a string of emotional flare-ups, including this outburst.
All right, you were quoted back in August saying, "I'm overly emotional, I'm too sensitive, I sometimes act like I'm from another planet." Are you still on that other planet?
No, I done came back down to earth, At that period of time, it's just a hard thing to explain right here and right now, that how I felt or whatever, but it wasn't so much of anger. It was, hey, I was hurt, and regardless of what, it showed anger after a while, but when it first came up, I was hurt. And, I came back down to earth. I realized that you can't change things that are irrelevant. You got to live with a lot of things, and most of the things you have to live with don't go your way.
Are you looking at this World Series opportunity as a chance to avenge the 2 All-Star Game snubs?
Not so much as. It's a different time. It's for a different cause. And it's very much a team effort right now. And the All-Star thing, like I said, was a little bit selfish. But all in all, right now, the World Series is the most important thing right now in my life. And going out pitching Game 3 would be as equal as accept that.
In our continuing search to delve into the pertinent issues of the day, we present a word association drill with Bob Ojeda, starting with Fenway Park.
Former neighborhood.
Okay, how about the Green Monster?
Close.
Boston manager John McNamara.
Helpful.
Honest answer, Boston manager John McNamara.
Well, he traded me, and he got here, and I got here. So, I don't have any hard feelings, none whatsoever. I'll tell you what, I'll get into this a little bit then. I think it boils down to difference in philosophies, difference in just the way we went about our lives, because behind the uniforms and behind the hats and behind the faces, there's individuals and there's individual characteristics. Some individuals, are thinking alike and get along pretty well. And we didn't have, we weren't like total enemies or anything like that, but we did have differences without a doubt.
Boston Press.
Tough.
Fair?
It can't some. I don't want to group them. I don't want to group them because I don't think it's fair. I think there's some that are very negative, and there's some that are positive, and there's some that are pretty much indifferent. And unless this is Russia, you're going to have that. You're going to have the difference in ways of reporting.
Want to name names?
No.
This interview.
Long, tedious, boring.
Ojeda with a feeble attempt at lashing back. In a moment, Bob Costas will visit a popular Boston watering hole. We'll be right back.
NBC Sports presents the World Series, an inside look brought to you by Aetna, the insurance people, work with the best in the business, and by Taco Bell, the cure for the common meal, and by Michelin. Michelin, because so much is riding on your tires.
Managing information means storing it, finding it, and moving it from A to B. When that meant linking 800 miles of Alaskan pipeline, they called Contel. When it meant matching orders to inventory at the Stoneham Lumber Company, they called Contel. Small business or tall order,
Contel can help you manage information better, too. For Contel, I'm Charlton Nest.
Yo, Samson.
Lunch. I need a burger like I need another haircut.
Tired of the same routine? Introducing the new Double Beef Burrito Supreme from Taco Bell. It's got twice as much beef as our regular Burrito Supreme for a bigger, beefier taste.
Whoa! Where can I get another one?
They're new at Taco Bell.
Great. I'm out of here.
The new Double Beef Burrito Supreme. Only at Taco Bell. The cure for the common meal.
Oh, the dilemma of choosing the right pregame show. She demands predictions, he the latest scoop. We in NBC Sports suggest you put as much thought into selecting a pregame show as you did when choosing your friends. Possibly more. NFL 86, the one you'll choose.
Welcome back to Fenway Park. You know, whenever a city hosts a World Series, a Super Bowl, any big sports event, it's almost standard procedure to visit a local sports bar and see how the real fans are reacting to it all. Well, it just so happens that here in Boston, one of the most popular pubs is owned by former Red Sox pitcher Sam Malone. So I stopped by. You know, it's been a few years since Sam Mayday Malone last towed the slab at Fenway, savoring the cheers of those fans. Nowadays, this is where he spends most of his time. He's the owner of the popular sports bar Cheers right here in Boston. Mayday, how you doing?
I'm great, Bob. How about yourself?
Well, I'm...
Short, cute, and lucky I'm free tonight.
Carla, please.
I'm trying to.
Just, no.
Listen, Sam, you were a pretty good fireman in your day.
Yeah.
Let's suppose you were still pitching for the Sox. How'd you work against a team like the Mets? How would you handle them?
Very carefully, Bob.
Yeah, Sam. Listen, let's talk about a specific situation, all right?
Good.
Man on third, ninth inning. It's the tying run. Gary Carter's at the plate. How do you pitch him?
Well, all right. Now, he's very powerful. He's driven a lot of runs in this season, and he's damn near as good-looking as I am.
Sorry, Sam.
No, that's all right. Anyway, I'd probably, with Gary, I'd stick with the hard stuff, you know, high and tight.
Oh, you know, who would know better than you? Because, you know, you.
Well, you know, I could always throw him some of my breaking stuff low and away.
Old curveball.
Get him downtown. You're the boss, Sammy.
Well, all right, you know, if the situation called for it, I could always fool him with my off-speed pitcher.
That's an option.
Hey, listen, wait, you know, if you guys know so much, what would you pitch him? Come on. No, not you.
Excuse me, Sam. Hi. I like you so much better than that Bert Fussberger guy.
Oh, thank you so much.
Anyway, you know, I may not be that familiar with baseball, but I remember you said that if you got in a tight spot, you'd go to your money pitch.
Money pitch?
Yeah, you know, when you put the dollop of Vaseline on the ball to make it a strange thing.
Oh.
Yeah, clever.
Oh, yeah.
He doesn't want to hear
What about when you did the tricks with the sandpaper?
Listen, why don't you just fill that up with olives, will you,
full,
please?
it's full.
Well, now it isn't. Here, just go on. Get away, will you, please? Go on. Waitresses, they're all comedians.
Yeah, well, Sam, thanks so much for these key pitching insights.
That's all right. Listen, Bob, I want you to know that I have never, ever even thought about pitching that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Fine, Sam. Good. Well, fans, now we all know what Mayday Malone would be doing if he were on the mound tonight. From Cheers, I'm Bob Costas, NBC Sports.
My number.
Sorry, Bob. Carla asked me to deliver this to another party of the U.S. Army.
Fine, Marv. You know, the old jokes are the best. Marv recalling his old vaudeville days. Well, now it's time to meet the lineups, and that brings us to a guy who's been around here at Fenway Park almost as long as the Green Monster, the venerable PA announcer, Sherm Feller.
Thank you, Bob Costas. And now for the starters of the National League champion New York Mets, the manager, number 5, Davy Johnson. Leading off, he batted .304 to lead the Mets in the championship series. Number 4, center fielder, Lenny Dykstra. Batting second, he led the Mets with a .320 batting average this season. Number 6, second baseman, Wally Backman. Batting third, he had 7 hits, 3 RBIs in the championship series. Number 17, first baseman, Keith Hernandez. Batting fourth, he led the Mets with 105 RBIs this season. Number 8, the catcher, Gary Carter. Batting fifth, he hit 27 homers this season. Added 2 in the championship series. Number 18, right fielder, Carroll Scarberry. Batting sixth, he had the game-winning RBI in the final game of the championship series. Number 32, correction 22, third baseman Ray Knight. Batting seventh, he led the Mets with a 300 average and 8 RBIs as a pinch hitter. Number 25, designated hitter, Danny Heath. Batting 8, he batted .289 for the Mets this year. Number 1, left fielder, Mookie Wilson. Batting 9, he batted .280 in the last 33 games of the season. Number 3, the shortstop, Rafael Santana. Pitching, warming up in the bullpen, he was the Mets' top winner with a record of 18-5. Number 19, pitcher Bob Ojeda. There they are, the National League champion New York Mets. And now for the starting lineup of the American League champion Boston Red Sox. The manager, number 1, John McNamara. Leading off, he led the American League in hitting with a .357 average. Number 26, third baseman Wade Boggs. Batting second, the most valuable player in the American League Championship Series, number 17, second baseman Marty Barrett. Batting third, he knocked in 102 runs this season. Number 6, first baseman, Bill Buckner. Batting fourth, he had 2 home runs, 6 RBI in the championship series. Number 14, left fielder Jim Wright. Batting fifth, he had 31 homers, 94 RBIs this season. Number 25, the designated hitter, Don Baylor. Batting sixth, he hit 26 home runs this season. Number 24, right fielder, Dwight Evans. He hit .357 in the championship series. Number 10, Red Sox catcher, Rich Gedman. Batting eighth, his dramatic homer, turned the championship series around for Boston. Number 40, center fielder, Dave Henderson. Batting ninth, he batted .429 in the championship series. Number 5, shortstop, Spike Owen. Warming up in the bullpen. And tonight's starting pitcher, the winner of the 6th game of the championship series, number 23, Dennis Oil Can Boyd. Here they are, the American League champion Boston Red Sox. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we ask that you please rise for the presentation of the colors by the Massachusetts Air National Guard. And now to honor America, the Red Sox and the Mets. Ask you to join actress Sandra Santiago of the hit TV series Miami Vice in the singing of our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
We mentioned that several teams have rebounded from 0-2 deficits to win the World Series, but the Mets come in tonight mindful of the fact that no team has ever lost the first three and then come back to win. Now this from NBC News.
This is NBC News Digest. Here is Tom Brokaw, NBC News.
Good evening. The United States today ordered 55 Soviet diplomats out of the country, but the administration does remain optimistic about reaching an arms control agreement. The White House said it is sorry that IBM has joined General Motors in selling out in South Africa because, it says, black workers may be hurt. Now this.
Would you believe that eating chocolate gives me the same feeling as being in love? Which brings me to my latest obsession, double Dutch chocolate, the incredibly chocolate coffee. Mmm. New from General Foods International Coffees.
About 20,000 Philippine farmers and their supporters marched against President Corazon Aquino today, complaining that she's not carrying out land reform. And one of television's earliest stars, Roscoe Vernon Gadabout Gaddis, has died at 90. He was known as the Flying Fisherman. I'm Tom Brokaw in New York. More news later on this NBC station.
Riveting, fascinating, full of passion. Now this acclaimed series becomes the first NBC show renewed for the whole season. Cop shows don't get any better than this. Crime Story, next Tuesday night.
You don't have to go to extremes to get national attention. Just call National Car Rental at 800-CAR-RENT.
This year, you can continue to have part of your medical bills covered, or you can vote for a new way of living and have all of them covered. U.S. Health Care.
We got the horse. The special excitement of night thoroughbred racing is back at the Meadowlands. Come share the excitement.
AT&T is in the middle of all the action.
Well, chaps, if we could just find the right American firm to handle things today...
The moon were made of green cheese.
Mr. Heyman from America on one.
Don, talk about perfect timing.
What's going on?
Let me put you on conference.
If you don't make the call, you may never know what you're missing, because nothing puts you in the middle of all the action like AT&T International Long Distance Service.
Work with you again. Sounds great. And I thought I was calling just to say hello.
AT&T, the right choice.
Team coverage of the Battle of Austin right after the game.
1986 World Series is brought to you by Aetna, the insurance people. Work with the best in the business. By Mercedes-Benz, engineered like no other car in the world. By Miller Genuine Draft, cold filtered for real draft smoothness. It's beer at its best. And by UPS, for express delivery to Europe and throughout the United States, UPS runs the tightest ship in the shipping business. Hi, everybody. I'm Vin Scully, and welcome to Game 3 of the World Series. Can you believe it? There are 2 managers, 48 players, and 9 coaches, and we're talking about inanimate objects. In New York, they summed up the 2 games with 1 word: beans. Then, of course, a big discussion about the Mets cap. The Boston fan says NY means next year. The Mets fan says NY means not yet. And in Boston, the main topic, 2 words: the wall. Yes, the green monster in left field. Here are the 2 fellows who'll go mano-a-mano with the monster, Jim Rice and Mookie Wilson. Let's meet them now and go to Joe Garagiola.
Okay, Vin. Mookie, we hear so much about the wall. What's running through your mind?
Right now, is that I know that the wall is going to cause some problems. For some reason, I'm very accustomed to going back on balls. As here, basically going to be coming in on balls and trying to judge the bounce off the wall, and that could cause some problems.
You played here for an exhibition game. Did you work out hard when you were here for the wall?
Well, the workout is all I really had. I didn't actually play in the game, and I spent most of my time working out in there. And I found out some things about the wall. It's not so much as the ball hitting the wall, it's how high it's going to hit. And from that split second, you have to judge to how far of a bounce you're going to give the ball to make. Some balls dropped in front of me, some bounced over my head. That is where the problem's going to come in.
Good luck to you. It sounds like it might be exciting.
It could be quite an experience out there.
Jim, what's the key to playing a wall for you?
Well, the key for me, Joe, is I think it's to go out and try to evaluate every hitter and try to adjust as far as how much I can go back to the wall or just look at the ball and see the reaction of the ball coming off the wall. Of course, I have an advantage because I've been playing it for 12 years. But then again, this is a new wall. It's not the old wall. The old wall was a very difficult wall to play. This is a better wall to play.
Why?
Because you get a truer bounce. And, of course, you can't really camp up under the ball. If the ball hit the wall, you got to play back because the ball will have a big hop out there because of the ground. The ground's a little hard out there.
You have any advice for Mookie?
I just wish him good luck. I can't tell him any secrets because he's playing against us.
But he did laugh, so we'll wait and see. We'll see what happens right after these messages.
Freddie Lynn on deck. The 1-0 delivery to Fisk. He swings, long drive, left field. If it stays there.
They begin so small, and the game is so hard. But they have an incredible secret advantage. They have such heroes to inspire them. Aetna is proud to sponsor the 83rd encounter between the best in the business and the best in the business. The heroes of October are with us again.
Gets the sign. Just like ball 1. Here comes the pitch.
The Dowager Queen, Fenway Park without a hair out of place. And at least for tonight, she goes to the ball like a young lady once again as the Red Sox take the field. The first ball ceremony, the Honorable Thomas P. Tip O'Neill, Jr., retiring after spending 34 years in the U.S. House of Representatives as a congressman from Massachusetts, and he has been Speaker of the House for the last 10 years. Throwing out the first ball to Rich Gedman.
Here's the defense for the Red Sox, and all you've been hearing, and we asked the fella, Rice will be in left field. The wall will be his primary responsibility. Henderson in center field. Evans in right field as always. Strong arm. Boggs at third base. On the shortstop, he's a key man because with all these angles, especially right behind third base, he'll be going out on any ball hit to left field. Barrett's at second base. Buckner at first base, Gedman behind the plate, and Oil Can Boyd on the mound.
Dennis Boyd, The oil can, 16-10. He was 9-6 here at Fenway Park during the year. And as you probably know, if you followed the game at all, extremely high-strung. In fact, they tell us that John McNamara even has a signal from the bench telling the can to cool it. He didn't throw as hard this year as he did last year. The key to his success is if he keeps the ball down. And among other things, with a good straight change and a curve, he also has a screwball, but it wouldn't really be called so much of a screwball as, let's say, he turns over the change.
He's got 6 pitches, really, Ben. Fastball, curve, slider, screwball, and turns it over. He's got the straight change. He can sink his fastball, and he rides it. Bill Fisher says that he's got great natural ability, and he just doesn't go to one particular pitch when he's in trouble. He goes against some of the pitching basics because he rocks, but nobody's going to change him the way he's pitching. And, of course, he's got that thing that Satchel Paige always called the yellow hammer, which is the overhand curveball, and that's a good out pitch for him.
He's built like the hour hand on your watch. And when he went to spring training in March, he checked in at 133 pounds. Well, they made tests on his liver, found he had non-contagious hepatitis, and he has puffed up now to 156. The can spent last night with his in-laws in East Providence, Rhode Island, 43 miles away from Boston.
There you see that overhand curveball that he throws, and he comes right over the top. He's got a little bit of a hesitation pitch in there. I tell you, he is a big Satchel Paige admirer, and one of the things I love, he said, some of the advice that Satch gave me, he said, keep the pitch in the strike zone, but away from the bat.
One other thing about Oil Can Boyd, as we take a look at his delivery, you will notice when he was interviewed on the pregame show, he was wearing glasses. But when he pitches, he does not wear glasses, nor does he wear contact lenses.
I asked Rich Getman about that, if he does anything special as far as the signs. He says, no, I don't like to do that, and he will cross me up a few times, even tonight.
Well, Can said that he remembers pitching in a minor league game where he crossed up the catcher 30 times in 80 pitches because he couldn't see the signs, misinterpreted them. However, I guess that's another good way of keeping the hitters loose.
And the catcher, and the umpire, and the vendors.
In the park. Well, here's Lenny Dykstra, followed by Wally Backman and then Keith Hernandez. And here we go. Wade Boggs playing up inside the bag on the edge of the grass. And the can is ready. Ball one. Sitting up here, and it might not be quite as obvious on our screens, but the infield grass is cut almost in concentric circles. It looked like the mound was a pond, and it had received a pebble. 1-1. There you can see some of the tracks. Whether that will influence a ball or not remains to be seen.
I talked to Joe Mooney about that, Vin. He says it's just the tires on the mower. But along third base, there are some ridges, and Dykstra and Backman really have to keep it going as far as getting the Mets started.
1 ball, 1 strike. High drive down the right field line, hooking in the corner. If it's fair, it's gone. It's gone. Lenny Dykstra takes Oil Can deep, and the Mets lead 1-0.
That's the kind of thing a ball club needs. You get picked up, they jump out 1 man, 1 run, and that whole ball club, you can see that Met bench is waiting for him.
That was the first extra base hit by the Mets in the World Series. So Dykstra gets the Mets out in front 1-0. And Wally Backman, always a threat to bunt, particularly with Buckman on that bad leg over at first base.
Barrett has shortened up at second base. He'll be trying to protect him as much as he can because he'll try to drag it past Oil Can. And Oil Can just pointed to Boggs, be alive.
Ball 1, 1-0. Lenny Dykstra convinced now that it's in the seats officially. One ball and no strikes. The plate umpire is Harry Wendelstedt of the National League. Then you have Brinkman, Montague, and Ford with Kibler and Evans on the line. Backman followed by Keith Hernandez. Two balls and one strike.
That home run by Dykstra is the first time the Mets have been ahead in this series.
And it took a little muscle from an unexpected quarter to provide us with the situation. Two balls and one strike. Ball three, and he's in dangerous territory, pitching high. We have a quick chance to look at the dimensions of the ballpark and some of the angles. 315 down the line. There's the monster, 37 feet high with a 23-foot screen atop it, falling away to 379. The deepest part is 420, the triangle, the V. 380 to straightaway right, and then right down the right field line. 3-1. So Backman goes all the way. A beautiful evening here in New England. Temperature, I guess, around 60. And there's a line drive, base hit into right field. Sounded like the bat cracked at least. It didn't break, but Backman singles, and the batter now will be Keith Hernandez.
It's a fastball. He just pulls it into right field. And Oil Can kind of regrouping as he walks around the mound. Two batters, two base hits.
So a home run by Dykstra, a single to right by Wally Backman, and now that brings up Keith Hernandez, a .310 hitter who was 33 yesterday. Hernandez with Gary Carter to follow.
That bat did split. I just saw Gedman go out and take some of the bat that it kind of split at on the fat part, the barrel of the bat.
I could hear it. It sounded like that old song, Celery Stalks at Midnight. 4-1, 1-0. Oil Can Boyd. It has been quite a year for him, winning his 16. If you remember, he was suspended July 10th, hospitalized July 17th, returned to the team on August 1st. And apparently, his displeasure over the fact he was not selected for the All-Star team. And it is interesting to think that because the Red Sox have won the American League pennant, who do you think will select the pitchers for the 1987 All-Star game for the American League? You got it, John McNamara.
Boyd has fallen behind every hitter.
1-0. Pretty good fastball. That's about as hard as he can throw right there.
You would think the Mets, even though they want to get something started with Backman, are going to give Hernandez at least a chance to try to pull that ball. And although he's taking a good look now at Buddy Harrelson.
1 ball and 1 strike. The count to Keith Hernandez. Time call for the moment as Backman trying to clear off the runway off first base.
Might be a bit soft there. The Red Sox do not have a whole lot of speed. You certainly wouldn't want to make it a fast strike for them as we look at Dykstra and Kevin Mitchell, but maybe make it a little bit soft and slow it down for the Mets.
1 ball and 1 strike to Keith. The Can has a high set. He doesn't set around the belt buckle. That set, his hands were together up around the letters, and then he was trying to fool Backman with his head. When he goes set, there's not much to hide behind. And they pitch out that time. And Backman still holding, and the count 2 balls and 1 strike. We're just warming up. First inning, Len Dykstra homered, Wally Backman singled, and the batter is Keith Hernandez. 1-0 Mets. Little foul off to the left and out of play, and the count 2 balls and 2 strikes. We mentioned earlier the coaches with Bill Robinson at first and Buddy Harrelson at third.
And there could be a lot of pressure on the judgment of Buddy Harrelson. You remember Moose Stubing and Bobby Grich. And there's Harrelson. You might check his relationship to the coaching box, trying to get a good angle, especially on a ball that's hit down the left field line. Right field line, he'll start to come towards the plate. And that's hit up the alley in left center. Going over to cut it off is Rice. Backman is not stopping, and he goes to third. And the Mets are in business, first and third, and nobody out, with Carter, Strawberry, and Knight coming up.
Looks like a fastball to the outside part of the plate, and Hernandez, who can go to the opposite field and hit it hard. Once Backman at first base saw Rice have to go over to left center field, there was no way he was going to stop at second base because he knew he had an easy way to get to third.
Bill Fisher talking to his manager, and now John coming out. So McNamara going out to discuss with Oil Can just what's going on. He has thrown one pitch that you might say he threw hard, and that was that strike to Keith Hernandez. There has not been any stuff at all otherwise, and he's been dangerous because he's been up and his strength is down.
He's relied mostly on that fastball, and he has fallen behind the hitters, and I'm sure he's saying, fine, I feel okay, I just don't know what's happening.
You know, it's interesting, too. Everyone has gone back to the history books talking about Kansas City losing the first two games and coming back. If you remember, the third game last year was pitched by another colorful character, Joaquin Andujar.
Game 6 was a rough start for Oil Can. Remember, he settled down, so maybe that's what John McNamara is looking for, but he's got to get ahead of these hitters or he's going to be having line drives hit off him all night long, or at least as long as he stays out there.
Keith Hernandez standing at first. Wally Backman down the line from third, and here is Gary Carter. Oh, and 1. Carter, as we have talked about, has been hitting a lot of balls up the middle. They try to shade him that way. He got himself into a dreadful slump in the Houston series. One reason being he was trying to pull everything, and in taking his stride into the pitch, he was landing on his heel. That opened him up, and his head would bounce, and he was really losing the outside pitch completely. 0-1. And he hammers it to left center, and that's going for a base hit into the wall. Backman will score. Hernandez to third, and Carter into second with a double, and the can is leaking in the first inning. So Gary Carter, on a team that did not have an extra base hit in the first two games, they produce a home run and a double in the first inning. And now, with first base open, Darryl Strawberry will be the batter. Sammy Stewart is the long man. He's first up. There he is in an area that will forever be called Williamsburg. That bullpen was established in 1940 when the kid came here, Ted Williams.
Carter's ball is well hit. Nothing fluky about it. It's in the gap. Henderson plays it off the wall.
So now Strawberry, who has had such a bad time, he has struck out 16 times in 8 postseason games, with a chance to get well and get well in a hurry. First base open. On the corner. Hernandez at third, Carter at second, and nobody out in the first inning. Strawberry, the 5th man to come to the plate. Put on an absolutely awesome show in batting practice, but that was batting practice.
Two good fastballs, one on the outside part of the plate and one high. Had something on it. Carter trying to tell him to get that ball down, get a strike to hit.
No balls and 2 strikes. Got him just low. Just missed the knees. 1 and 2.
Interesting. No breaking balls, no off-speed pitches. Another fastball. This is the pitch that he's been taking low inside, but it's out of the strike zone. Good pitch with 2 strikes. He can work on it.
1-2 to Darrell. Fouled off. On deck, Ray Knight. The Mets have scored twice on a home run, 2 singles and a double. They have runners at second and third, nobody out, and a hungry hitter at the plate. Foul back. The Red Sox have been a hot ball club. Remember, they come into this game having won 5 straight. John McNamara seeing his team come from 3-1 down to win the LCS. Davey Johnson's club had to scramble to get here after having won 108. In the dirt. The Mets trying to come back, and they're leading here in the first inning 2-0. 2-2 to Strawberry. Ball 3. Looked like he tried to turn that over, tried to get him with a screwgee on the corner, but it danced away. Take another look at it.
You can see Gedman try to frame it, keeping that glove in his strike zone, but she drifts outside, and he holds it there. But Harry Wendelstedt says, nope, outside.
3-2 to Darrell Strawberry. Second and third, nobody out. Struck out 5 times in the series. Now first base still open, and the batter is Ray Knight. Mets 2, Sox nothing. Since this game is being played in the American League, you probably know that the designated hitter rule has been employed. But it's interesting, in the 28 games with the DH employed, the National League has an edge. Strike.
Now, we talked about maybe the possibility of oil can crossing up Gedman. Sometimes with our center field shot, you wonder how you can make sure a pitcher can see you. You do it with flaps. And sometimes use your fingers as decoys, and then you count the number of times he may pat one leg or the other, and that's what you make up before the game. Let's see if he does it. There it is, right there.
0-1. Ground ball wide to third. Boggs has a play at the plate. They've got Hernandez and Carter, and Boggs will throw to third, and they'll now go after Carter. Owen now looks at third. He's going to lose the play. Everybody's safe. Did they mess it up?
I think that Gedman was the key to that play. There were 2 men at third base. Carter and Hernandez were going back, and Gedman gave the ball to Boggs, and Boggs realized 2 men were on. You'll watch it here. Now Boggs makes the play, sizes it up perfectly. Now they've got him hung up. Now Gedman hasn't hung up. Hernandez going back. He just runs him back. He's all right because Carter was right there. You can see that Owen starts to chase him back. And here's where they lose it. Right now you ask for the salt and pepper and take a bite out of it.
I tell you, year in, year out, day in and day out, the biggest disappointment I think you get in watching big league teams, how often they mess up a rundown play. It's a simple fielder's choice, no error involved. Bases loaded, 1 out on a monumental break, and here is Danny Heap for a strike.
This is where your pitcher really has to pick up the ball club, and he's going to try for the strikeout. If nothing else, to say, hey, guys, let's all settle down and it'll begin with me.
0-1 to Danny Heap. Hernandez, Carter, and Knight all out on the line. And there's a line drive base hit. That was an expensive mess up by the Red Sox. Carter will score with Hernandez. It is 4-0 New York. So Danny Heath, the designated hitter, lines to center to drive in two, and the Mets have gotten the drop on the Red Sox.
It's pretty obvious that even though they didn't work out yesterday and they thought the rest were doing good, the Mets would come out and really charge it.
So a home run, 2 singles, a double, a bad defensive play, and another base hit, and the Mets have 4. 2 on, still only 1 out, and Mookie Wilson hitting left-handed at the plate. Strike. The most emotion shown in the Mets dugout since the series started. Understandably, they got nothing in the first game, and they were blown out in the second. At first, Danny Heath. At second, Ray Knight. 1 out and 4 runs in the bank. Blew Mookie Wilson away. Now, by rights, the inning should be over. However, he still has to pitch to Rafael Santana.
And it was interesting on that sequence. He shook Gedman off 2 pitches to make sure he came back to the fastball. And you can see how high-strung and hyper Oil Can is. He really took that upon himself to say, I'm just going to blow it right by him.
Years ago up here, they had the battle cry Spawn and Sane and 2 days of rain. Earlier this year, the battle cry in Boston was Clemens and Boyd and fill the void. There has been a sizable gap, but their pitching has improved dramatically. But they're down by 4 in the first inning. Strike 1 to Rafael Santana, the 9th man to come to the plate in the first inning. Sammy Stewart is long since ready. If they need him, he's just a spectator in the bullpen. Ground ball speared by Boggs, the short way to Barrett, and they get the force on Danny Heath. 4 runs, 5 hits, and a downcast Boyd, leaving the field trailing 4-0.
Oil Can Boyd. And here's the play that really hurt him in that inning. Gedman has the ball. Hernandez is hung up. Now Gedman's running him back. And right here, if he keeps running him back, you'll notice it's cut off, but there is Carter at the third base, 2 men, and now Spike Owen has the ball, and he's going to lose the play by looking, double clutching, and he's in no man's land. If Gedman runs him back, he's got a whole welcoming committee of Mets there, and you tag everybody, including the third base coach, if you have to, and one of them's going to be out.
Had Gedman just held on to the ball, and the Mets would have had 2 runners at third base, Rich would have tagged both probably instinctively, and the runner who would have been out would be Carter. Third base belonged to the runner occupying it at the time, and that would be Keith Hernandez.
Here's the defense for the Mets. Mookie Wilson in left field. Dykstra, who got him off and running in center field. Strawberry, Knights at third. Santana, Backman, Hernandez, Carter behind the plate, and Ojeda. 4-run lead for Ojeda.
Bobby Ojeda setting a little World Series history. He's the first pitcher in the World Series to start a game against the club for which he played the previous year. And Bobby Ojeda is accustomed to being in the history books. He was the winning pitcher in the longest professional baseball game ever played. We'll see if it's a long or short night for him. Ball 1 to Wade Boggs.
He's got a fastball, curveball, slider, changeup. He has to change speeds. In importance, fastball and change. 1 ball and no strikes. Bouncer and a comebacker. And Ojeda just lobs it to Hernandez. 1 away. Rather than send you to the history books, it was a AAA game between Pawtucket and Rochester. It went 33 innings. They played 32 innings on April the 18th. Then they had to play the 33rd inning on June 23rd. The game officially took 8 hours and 25 minutes, and Ojeda got the win. Well, here's Marty Barrett.
One away, bottom of the first. The Red Sox have been a first-inning ball club offensively all year. They've done more damage in the first inning than any other time in a game. Right. Ojeda, when he pitched here, had a lifetime record at Fenway of 20-17. He was 4-7 at Fenway last year. Ground ball backhanded by Ojeda. And just like that, he handles 2 of them. So 2 out in the first inning on comebackers. That second play's a dandy.
Much like the home run takes the air out of the momentum when you come back with it. If Ojeda can get him 1, 2, 3 and as easily as it looks, and he just backhands this one, it's going to really take the air out of the balloon.
And Bill Buckner coming up. 2 down in the first inning, 4-0 in favor of the Mets. Buck hobbling but playing every inning just about. And Harry Wendelstedt gesturing, I believe, to take a sign off the center field wall. That's what it was. Billy Buck's hit 18 home runs during the year and 102 RBI. And he's been inspirational playing and playing well on that bad leg. I think, as we mentioned, with all of his leg and ankle problems, he only missed 8 games all year. One and one. The count to Bill Buckner. 2 out in the first inning. The Mets leading 4-0. Fly ball to right field, hooking in the corner. Strawberry coming over. It's playable. He's got it. So Buckner a fly ball to right. The Sox are gone in the first inning, and Ojeda's back at home at the end of an inning. 4-0 New York. We're going to the second inning. 9 men came to the plate in the first inning for the Mets, and the spark plug, Len Dykstra, led off with a home run, which is not exactly news for him.
No, he hit leadoff home runs off Danny Cox, Kevin Gross, and Mike Maddox. And Ben, I'll tell you something. I'm sure that Gedman has said to Boggs and Book and even Buckner and Barrett, be alive for the bunt. The home run, forget about it. Yeah, he did hit it, but he wants to get something started. He can do a lot of things in the batter's box.
So oil can ready to go in second round. Strike. No balls and 1 strike. In there. Strike 2. For the Can, who struck out 2 in the first inning, his high this year. He struck out 10 in Texas. And 2. Or 1 and 2. Last year, Oil Can had 2 games where he struck out 12, and he did that back-to-back. So he can blow you away. 1 and 2 to Dykstra. Little ground ball to the right side. Marty Barrett to Bill Buckner. So Lenny Dykstra takes the elevator from the penthouse to the basement. 1 out, and Wally Backman coming up, and we pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC television network.
This is WNBC TV, New York.
Wally Backman coming up, with the Mets leading 4-0 in the second.
That was the first real good breaking ball that Oil Can threw to get Dykstra. He's been relying on the fastball.
Ball 1-0. There is a feeling around that since the Can is not throwing as hard this year as last year, the screwball might be taking something away from him, and the slider has not been as sharp as it was last year. Fouled off. 1 ball, 1 strike. Davy Johnson trying to get his ball club well on foreign soil, down 2-0. He has seen them at least jump out in front 4-0. And remember, they did not work out here yesterday. In there. Good pick.
I get the feeling before the game that one of the big reasons he didn't want all his players subjected to all the negative questions of what are you going to do now that you're 2 down. Just keep them away from that. He felt probably that was more important than batting practice.
After that long game Sunday night, the Red Sox flew home. A lot of the Mets were still in uniform at 1 o'clock in the morning. Good, and over for strike 3.
That's the yellow hammer. That's the overhand curveball. On the playground, you call that a drop. You come right over the top, and you can see it roll down. That was the first one he threw.
So that's his 3rd strikeout as we take another look at that rainbow.
Now watch his arm just come right over the top, and she just drops right down.
Sometimes, occasionally during the course of a long year, he'll throw that curveball a little too slow. But boy, not that time. And Keith Hernandez, who singled in the 1st inning, coming up. So Boyd trying to do an about face. Hernandez with Carter on deck. In there. Looks like he turned that over. Gary Carter waiting his turn. They each contributed 5 hits and 4 runs in the 1st. And tried to pull an outside pitch and grounds it to Buckner, who hangs it to Boyd, who did a little toe dance and hit the bag. So Hernandez, who likes to go the other way, hit it full on an outside pitch and rolled out.
It's anybody who's gone away from a place where they grew up, in a sense, and I grew up in the game here in Boston, in a sense, and comes back after having some success. It's a good feeling, and I enjoyed my time here. I enjoyed the years I spent growing up here, and coming back here, part of me is still here, without a doubt, because I left some blood here and some tears here, as dramatic as that sounds, and I grew up here, but I am, you know, I belong elsewhere now, but I enjoyed my time here.
Well, he will face a former teammate, Jim Rice, and misses away. Ojeda was not drafted by the Red Sox. He was signed as a free agent back in '78. 1 ball, no strikes. 2-0.
I think this is his first test, Ben, and it's going to show us if he's going to be pitching inside to move these big guys off, like Rice and Baylor, who, if you do make a mistake outside, they're strong enough to pull it against that wall and play wall ball.
2-0. Slicing foul down the right field line, out of play, and the count 2-1.
One thing that wall does, you cannot win with medium stuff as a pitcher here, because you can hit mistakes and hit them against that wall. And with guys like Rice and Baylor, they're in scoring position when they walk in the batter's box.
Interesting for the Mets to score 4 runs and 5 hits in the 1st inning, and the wall didn't figure at all. 2 balls, 1 strike. Ball 3.
Came inside. He's going to have to establish that.
Three balls, 1 strike. On the corner. So high and in, then he works on the outside corner and goes 3-2.
Both catchers really checking these peekers in this ballpark. Gedman and Carter looking right up at him.
3-2. Fouled away. Rice will be followed by Baylor and Evans. The number 4 hitter in the inning was Bobby Ojeda's best friend on the ball club, Rich Gedman. Ojeda, you might remember in Game 2 of the LCS against Houston, made a big play to tag Kevin Bass at the plate. He was all over the place in that game. This is just as big, if not bigger. Right on the outside corner. And Rice is caught looking.
25.
He wasn't sure of that pitch at all, but it doesn't make any difference how sure or unsure. It was called a strike.
Baylor.
So you be the umpire.
One thing, the Sox, I'm sure, are well aware of the fact he'll throw that change at any time, especially when he's behind. Here's Baylor. Ball 1, 1-0.
Baylor right on top of that plate. his arms are almost in the strike zone or over that plate. Look how close he is. He wants you to come inside. Carter checking all over.
Fouled away. Baylor, the only Red Sox to have at least one hit in all 7 League Championship Series games. Baylor, all told, has hit in 10 straight. Baylor, who was the designated sitter in New York, now gets a chance to rough up a former teammate. He played with Davy Johnson in Baltimore. 15 years he has waited for this moment, and he's in the World Series.
It was interesting. That was a new ball they put in play after fouling one off, and Baylor wanted to check it before he even threw it. Maybe the pollution was greater than I think.
1 ball and 1 strike. Ball 2, 2-1. Usually, pitchers like to pitch away from Baylor, particularly here in Fenway, and throw him a lot of off-speed pitches. Rice is still ticked off about that strike 3 call. 2-1. Ball 3, so he went 3-2 to Rice and got him, and he comes back 3-1 to Baylor.
It's very difficult as we look at Davy Johnson to pitch Baylor any place but away, and if you don't have the real good spot, he can flick that bat and play wall ball with you.
3-1 to Don. And that's hammered to left field, high and deep and off the wall. Mookie Wilson playing it into second base, and Baylor's in there with a double.
That was not a hard swing. He just kind of lifted that ball.
So Bobby Ojeda gives up a double to Don Baylor, and now the chant Dewey for Dwight Evans.
Here it is, and Mookie Wilson plays it well. A high towering drive, and Mookie was right there, 2-base hit.
Well, here is Evans now trying to help the Red Sox get back. Baylor at second, 1 out in the second inning. And it is 4-0 Mets, and he squirts it off the end of the bat to Santana. Throws him out, and of course Baylor has to hold. Boy, was Evans out in front of that. 2 down, and here comes Ojeda's best friend, Rich Gedman. And if anyone should know him, what's that old Bertie Tebbets line? I can hit any pitcher I ever caught.
That's what Bertie always said.
Would you agree with that?
No. I caught a lot of pitchers, couldn't hit any of them. I mean, it sounds nice, but I don't believe it.
Well, let's see about the battle. Big, slow jug, and he missed with it, ball 1. 1-0.
The one thing that it does, though, if you've caught a fella, is you know what he likes to go to in a particular spot. But then again, you have to think, well, he knows that too, so here goes that cat and mouse game.
Remember, Gedman is that unusual left-hand hitter who is a high ball hitter. Baylor at second, 2 out in the second inning, 4-0 Mets. For Baylor to hit the wall for a double, that's old hat here. The Sox led the majors with doubles. 1-0. He got it high. Gedman went after it, fouled it back. 1-1.
You can see why he would like that ball better up than down because of that swing. Again, it's that Reniac watch now. He'll let that top hand go off, and he swings down on the ball. Now, his home run production will go down with that, but he'll get more base hits, according to the theory.
1-1. The count to Gedman. Baylor waiting to be picked up at second base. Big, slow, and it missed. Ball 2. 2-1. He came back with pretty much of his best fastball, and the count 2-2. Ojeda handled a couple of comebackers in the first inning, struck out a batter in the second, and of course that's a key. A 3-2 pitch that was eyeballed by Harry Wendelstedt for strike 3. If it's ball 4, Baylor's double really puts the Sox in business. Instead, Rice called out, so Baylor's at second and no runs in. Deuce is wild on Gedman. Got him on the corner with the fastball. So he strikes out 2. The Sox lead Baylor. It's 4-0 Mets. And we'll be right back after these messages from your local station. Tonight's game is brought to you by Newfriend. Discover Newfriend strength. By Wendy's, now introducing the big classic hamburger. This is the good stuff.
Gary Carter.
4-0 in favor of the Mets as we go to the 3rd inning. Gary Carter, Darryl Strawberry, and Ray Knight against Oil Can Boyd. Strike, 0-1.
Looked like Gedman was searching for Oil Can's curveball, and they seem to have found it. Another good one.
0-1 to Carter, who cracks his bat and lifts a fly ball to shallow center, and Henderson is there. And you could hear that thing crack. Carter doubled, you remember, in the 1st inning. So 1 away, and Strawberry coming up.
John McNamara is complaining about Ojeda going to his mouth, spitting in his hand. Doesn't like that at all. All I'm doing is I'm asking. Cross my heart, I saw him do it.
Remember the 2 games in New York.
With Gooden.
And with the cold weather, they were allowed to do it. I don't think that there was any provision for that tonight because the weather is really almost balmy. 0-1.
What I meant was with Gooden taking the Band-Aid off his finger. It wasn't even his pitching hand, but anything to upset a pitcher.
Well, here's Strawberry. It looks like he inherits an 0-2 count. Ball 1. I'm sure you get to that point after a while where you walk up to the plate and you think, is it already 0-2?
Well, I tell you, he's in one of those things. You're confused and you're getting all kinds of advice.
Fastball hit down the left field line, starting to curl foul and well out of play.
When it's considered a slump, you go to your batting coach and the old age-old baseball thing. A slump is like the common cold. It's going to last 2 weeks, regardless of what you do. But the toughest thing is just to be able to discard all the friendly advice you get on your way to the batter's box.
1-2. Well, he got out in front of that fastball and pulled it into the Sox dugout. So he got the pitch he wanted and was out in front of it.
You're not hitting. You have really no good idea of the strike zone. And that ball was low inside, out of the zone.
And he hits that one to right center. Henderson, however, is there. So 2 down, top of the 3rd, and the batter will be Ray Knight. The Mets had a home run by Lenny Dykstra. That started them off in the right direction. They had 4 more hits, including a double by Carter. The Sox messed up a rundown play, and the Mets put 4 in the bank. The Sox had a 1-out double by Baylor after a key strikeout call against Rice opened up the 2nd inning. Then we're now in the 3rd. 0-1.
That was interesting. We saw Gedman give the sign. He gave the sign, shook him off, came back, and then he indicated overhand curveball. I've never seen a sign given like that. It was just rolled his wrist.
1-0. Fouled off first, down the line, and out of play. 1 ball, 1 strike. It was Ray Knight who hit the ground ball to Wade Boggs. The Sox had a golden opportunity, and they were unable to get an out. Popped it up on the right side. Barrett going out looking for a little help. Evans comes along behind him, and it'll be Barrett anyway. So the Mets are out in order for the 2nd time. That's 8 in a row retired by the can, but it's 4-0 New York. Bobby Ojeda going to work in the bottom of the 3rd. The Mets leading the Sox 4-0. It'll be Dave Henderson, Spike Owen, and then Wade Boggs. Turn that off-speed pitch off, and it really danced away. 1 ball and no strikes. Fouled away. The Sox know how good a pitcher Bobby Ojeda can be. Remember 2 years ago when the Detroit Tigers ran away They were 35-5 at the start of the year. One of the 5 defeats that Detroit suffered, 1-0 at the hands of Bobby Ojeda, who was then wearing a Sox uniform. He struck out 10. Line to left field, base hit. Mookie over to backhand the ball, and Henderson holding, and the throw comes all the way through to Wally Backman.
You have to establish inside here, but if you miss your target, the wall makes you pay a big price. Here's Ojeda to Rice, inside. To Baylor, inside. Now watch Baylor flick it when he got it just out over the plate, and the wall says, hey, cash me in. 2-base hit. And now Henderson just drills one to left.
So the batter is on with Henderson at first and nobody out, and Wade Boggs on deck. Third inning, 4-0 New York. Change, and he missed with it. In fact, Carter whirling on Wendelstedt. 1 ball and no strikes.
I tell you, if he had ideas to bunt, that would have been the perfect pitch, because second baseman Backman has to cheat towards the bag. If he pushes it past Ojeda, who is a pretty good fielder, as indicated already, that's the guy he gets it by, and it's a base hit. And he had a good pitch, the off-speed pitch.
1 ball and no strikes to Spike.
I get the feeling watching Carter constantly looking down to first base that he thinks Riniak may be stealing some signs. I mean, nice shot from center field. He's looking all over the place. There he goes again, down first base. And Walt is out of the coach's box.
Henderson held on at first by Keith Hernandez. In there.
That time you saw him, he looked up at Spike Owen, and he looked at first base. He's checking around. He's just checking his whole ballpark, and including the hitter.
Walt Riniak coaching at first. Rene Latchman over at third. There's the pride of Natick, Massachusetts, Walt Riniak. 2-1. In there again, 2-2. A maddening pitcher is Bobby Ojeda.
Changing speeds, that's the thing he does so well. And I tell you, when he establishes that fastball inside and then changes speeds, it could be like 3 pitches.
His move to first is rated slow from the plate, very slow. So he's borderline average trying to throw to first. We haven't seen him go over there. Check swing, a looper tonight, back to first, not in time. So Owen lines to third, 1 away, and the batter will be Wade Boggs.
Wade Boggs, who tries to put in his mind a pitcher in the American League who is similar to Ojeda, names Charlie Lebrand as the guy. And his target would be from the speakers in center field to the left field line. Although with that big gap in first, between first and second, look out.
Remember, he hit back to the box in the first inning. Ball 1, 1-0. Interesting about the Sox, they won 51 games at home this year, but they only hit 55 home runs at home. This is a whole new Boston edition. Ball 2. 2-0 to Boggs. Nothing New York. Bottom of the third, 1 away. Missed again. So behind 3-0, that means Marty Barrett on deck becomes potentially the tying run. And of course at Fenway Park, or make it almost a tying run in the dugout, would be Bill Buckner. They get you back in the game in a hurry here. That's a strike. 3-1. Boggs, who led the majors in walks, has the count his way. Four runs, 5 hits for Davy Johnson and the Mets. No runs, 2 hits for the Sox and John McNamara. Henderson holding, and Boggs, ball 4. Marty Barrett, who hit back to the box, but sharply. Remember, it was backhanded by Ojeda. Barrett coming up, and then Buckner.
And Hernandez just motioned it backward. Now he hits over here. Be alive. He likes that ball inside to slice it that way, an in and out, inside out swing.
And ball one. So Ojeda now perhaps trying to be too fine, and he's behind yet to another hitter. And Carter going out to say, let me have a strike.
That's the kind of a look that a pitcher gives you when he says, hey, that was a strike. The fact that he called it a ball, I can't do anything about it. And what Carter's simply trying to do is to settle him down and say, hey, once again, can't make a play if you don't give us a chance.
And it's not as if it was, let's say, an American League umpire who was unaccustomed to calling balls and strikes with Ojeda. Harry Wendelstedt is in the National League. 1 ball and no strikes to Marty Barrett. In there. 1-1. 2 on. You have Henderson at second, Boggs at first, and Barrett at the plate. Buckner on deck. 1 away. There's the change, hit to the hole into right field, base hit. They're sending Henderson home. Strawberry's throw not in time.
Would be one of the real tough ones for Ojeda because he changes speeds, and Barrett being a contact hitter, he makes up his mind to go that way, and he can handle that ball, the off-speed pitch. You see Johnson talking just strictly to Ojeda and just checking to settle him down. Right in the hole. He just punched it inside out. Strawberry comes up throwing strong arm, but not as accurate as he's going to get, and no play at all. Henderson, he doesn't hesitate. He's digging hard. Didn't even look at the coach, although you could see Latchman waving him on. Down, says Buckner. Everybody doing their job.
So Henderson is in with the Sox run. Boggs stopping at second base. And the batter is Bill Buckner, who flied to right field in the first inning. 4-1 New York, and here come the Sox in the third. On deck, Jim Rice. Right, 0-1, outside part of the plate.
During batting practice, Buckner took some extra hitting, and he was trying to hit the ball from center field over, although they are playing him straight away.
Remember, he hit an off-speed pitch Sunday night for a base hit to right field. Part of the book on Buck is to throw a lot of slow stuff. He has a tendency to ground the ball. That's one reason, along with his bad wheels, why he led the major leagues. In fact, he was second in grounding into double plays. Fastball, hit down the line, foul, and out of play. 0-2.
That's the thing he wants to do. That's why many people think that the left-hand hitter in this park is really better off than the right-hander, because you don't really have to hit that ball that hard to the opposite field, and if you pull the ball with any kind of power, you can reach the seats down the line, and you have a lot of room in right center field. But left field, you don't have to hit it that hard and hit that wall.
Interesting. You know, the Red Sox have produced a batting champion 18 times, and only 2 right-hand batters. Barney Lansford and Dale Alexander, the only 2. 0-2 to Billy Bucks. Curveball, and he just did get a piece as he throws his bat at it.
That's the new term in baseball. That's the emergency swing. In case it's close, it's an emergency. Get a piece of it, and he does. He's fooled on it, and there goes the bat. Now, that's really the Charlie Lau theory overdone, I believe, then.
Yes, except he's only struck out 25 times all year. Mel Stottlemyre sweating out Bobby Ojeda's performance right now, the Mets pitching coach. 0-2, the count to Bill Buckner.
And Dykstra's moved over towards left center field. They expect him to hit from center field to the left field line.
And that might even have been out of the strike zone. It was borderline, and Buckner, angry at himself, there's a fellow who doesn't strike out and just did. That's the third strikeout for Ojeda. And the batter is Jim Rice.
And here's why Davy Johnson goes out to talk to his pitcher. In this ballpark, you got a guy like Rice, 2 guys on. You know what that means. A 4-run lead isn't very much here.
And now it's a 3-run lead with the Mets leading 4-1. And Rice could get him even in a hurry. Fastball hit and short hop by Santana. Feeds Backman, and they're out of the jam. 2 hits and a walk, a run in, and 2 left. And at the end of 3, 4-1 New York. You can see all the dents. The wall here at Fenway, the scoreboard itself has been hammered. Each and every one telling a story. And this is the way it looks if you're inside the scoreboard looking out. The scoreboard is manually operated. And we have a camera in there. That was the camera that caught Carlton Fisk's dramatic home run in the 6th game 11 years ago tonight. That's the wall as Danny Heap steps in. Heap followed by Wilson and Santana. When Fenway Park was built in 1912, the first wall was made of wood, but they had a fire here in 34, so they had to rebuild it. And it was made out of tin with thousands of metal rivets to keep it in place. There's a ladder that goes alongside the scoreboard to the top of the wall, and if the ball hits the ladder, no one has any idea of where the ball will go. It went from wall to tin to fiberglass-like surface, which it has now. Besides the scoreboard and the ladder, when Freddie Lynn came here, they had to pad the wall to make sure he wouldn't be injured. Fly ball into center. Dave Henderson is there. 1 down. The wall is 37 feet high. As you look at the padding, there's two feet, I believe, of concrete below the pad. Then atop the 37-foot wall is the screen. And behind the wall is Lansdowne Street. And then you go on a little bit more and you get to the Massachusetts Turnpike, and if you keep going, Commonwealth Avenue. Here's Mookie Wilson. Mookie went down on strikes in the 1st inning.
It's pretty apparent that Oil Can, starting ahead of those hitters now, has found his curveball. He's turning the ball over, and he seems to have settled down.
In between pitches, because so much has been said about the wall, left field here is almost a museum. Since 1939, there have only been 3 left fielders: Ted Williams, Carl Yastrzemski, and Jim Rice. And on the scoreboard, there they are. If you look at the scoreboard, there's a long white line under the P for pitcher and between the runs and pitchers when they give the scores. We'll show you that for good reason. Hopper to Barrett, and the play goes to Buckner. 2 down. It is, in a sense, ironic as we look at the scoreboard in left field. If you are an expert in Morse code, you'll see dash, dot dash, dash, dot dash, dash, etc. On the left side, spells out the initials T-A-Y. On the right side, J-R-Y for Thomas and Gene Yawkey. And isn't it interesting that the Red Sox got into the World Series by beating an old Western Union telegrapher by the name of Gene Autry? Here's Santana, hit into a force play in the 1st inning.
Control the curveball now, that overhand curveball. He is just dropping it right off the end of the table.
Oh, he's on a roll. He's retired 10 in a row. 1 ball and 1 strike. So the question now is, has the horse disappeared out of sight, or can the Sox catch up, giving the 4 runs in the 1st inning? Oil Can Boyd had really settled down. That's the story up to here. Knowing his background, I guess you expect him to be high-strung and damaged by it in the first inning. 2-2.
He just changed speeds that time. Santana way out in front.
Little ground ball to third, trying to time at his box. Santana runs pretty well, but Bob shoots him down anyway. 11 in a row, retired by All-Can Boyd at the end of 3.5, 4-1, New York.
Game. Watch Gedman as he gives the sign. Now he wants the curveball. We talked about All-Can having trouble seeing his signs. Now he gives it, but watch what he does. Curveball. He pretty well tells him just come right on over the top. No doubt about what that was going to be.
Now in the bottom of the fourth inning, we'll see about any doubt for Bobby Ojeda. He surrendered a run on 2 hits and a walk in the third inning, and he'll be facing Baylor, who doubled, followed by Evans and Gedman. He looked at them in the second inning.
Can't help but think, Ben, in a World Series, the simplest way is still the best.
Yeah, that's right. Just show him if you're having any trouble at all. Flutter ball that misses, ball 1, 1-0. He pops the change foul. Ray Knight coming over along with Gary Carter. Neither man will have a play.
One of the things about pitching inside in this ballpark, if you miss, you want to miss towards the right-handed batter because you want him, if he swings, to pull it foul. Because if you miss a little bit out over that plate, again, that wall will ask you to pay a pretty stiff price. And the guys that really show you that are guys like Rice and Baylor, who's up there now. He's right on top of that plate. Look at Carter just looking all over the place.
1-1. Ball 2, 2-1. The temperature tonight at the start of the game in Boston, 66 degrees. Mets 4, Red Sox 1, bottom of the fourth. Ground ball to the hole. Santana with the long throw. 1 away.
Santana's one of those shortstops. It's a career wrecker. I mean by that, he gets it and he holds it. It makes you run the whole distance, and he just gets you by a step. There are other guys that'll throw you out 2 feet from the batter's box, but not Santana. Now watch, he'll hold it, and now he flicks it, figuring an accurate throw is better than a hard throw, and Baylor had to run the whole distance.
Santana is the opposite of Sean Dunston of the Cubs, who has an incredible arm. He just picks the ball up and throws you out by 50 feet if he can.
Well, see, he's a career saver.
Yeah. Here's Dwight Evans. He takes ball 1. Dewey grounded to short in the second inning. 0 for 1. Mets 4, Sox 1, bottom of the fourth. The Red Sox came from behind 39 times this year. The Mets, of course, have had their share of tough wins. We've got a long way to go here in the fourth. One and one. Off speed, but he missed. Ball 2, 2-1. Some of those off-speed pitches he throws, they go up there with the velocity of a fallen leaf. I don't know how he can ever reach the plate when he does it.
Does that with his curveball.
2-1. There's a fastball, and he got away with it. He challenged him low and inside, and Evans is about as good a low ball hitter as there is in the American League.
But he had just thrown that infield fly before that. There's the fastball, low inside, right in the power zone, and Dewey knew it.
He couldn't believe he'd get it. 2-2. And then he changed and turned it over, ball 3. So a full count to Evans, 1 out in the fourth. A chopper out in front of the plate. Carter's on it in fair ground and throws him out.
He made him chase a bad ball. It was out of the strike zone. It was high.
So 2 down in the fourth inning, and Rich Gedman coming up.
Here's the pitch. Carter really checking. You wonder how you can protect yourself as we watch Carter make the play.
Ball 1 to Rich Gedman.
Usually you ask your first baseman if he's playing a normal position, can you see my signs? If he says yes, then you know you're opening up too much. And he's just looking at everybody, both Latchman at third and Riniak at first.
Off speed, they're going to check at third. No swing, says Dale Ford. And they count 2 balls and no strikes. Gedman had 16 home runs this year. Interestingly enough, 14 of them on the road, including 2 grand slams in there. It's a pretty good shot to right field if you don't go down the line. Down the line is only 302, but it falls away to 380. And he goes the other way. A line drive backhanded by Mookie Wilson. So Gedman lines to left at the end of 4, 4-1 New York. And we'll be right back after these messages from your local station. Tonight's game is brought to you by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? And by MCI, communications for the next 100 years.
And Dykstra.
Captain Drew Marshall of Pompano Beach, Florida, and the Goodyear Blimp Enterprise. You know how long it takes to fly the Blimp from Shea Stadium in New York to Boston? It's an 8-hour trip. And Lenny Dykstra, who went all the way around the bases much quicker than that to lead off the game, fouls it off. Dykstra homered and grounded out. For Oil Can Boyd, and perhaps you can blame it on his nervous system, it should not come as too much of a surprise that he gave up the 4 runs in the first inning. In Game 6 of the American League Championship Series, he faced 8 batters and gave up 2 runs in the first inning, then only 1 run the next 6 innings. 1-1. And that's lifted back a short, and it's going to land in front of Jim Rice for a bloop single to left. So Dykstra is aboard, and that breaks the string. He had retired 11 in a row. The last Mets hit was a single by Danny Heap. So a little flair, as the modern day ball player calls it, no longer a Texas leaguer, a flair. And the batter is Wally Backman. Single to right and struck out, 1 for 2. Backman and Dykstra are inseparable buddies during the year. They live very close to each other. Usually they alternate 1 week at a time driving to the ballpark. And if you ask Backman what's the difference, he says Dykstra wears stripes with plaid. He's a beach boy, is Dykstra. Ball 1. And Gedman wants to talk to the can.
Gedman, I'm sure, just wants him to keep his good stuff on the ball, but as always, when Dykstra's on and Backman's in that batter's box, you have to think about this little guy, Backman, bunting the ball and dragging it past Oil Can Boyd, especially with Buckner at first base.
And Dykstra, who led the Mets with 31 stolen bases. Remember, the Sox stole 41 as a team. 1-0 to Wally Backman.
They've got Oil Can and Gedman thinking, and Barrett will have to be the key man at second base to protect Buckner at first base. So they break up the infield, Dykstra and Backman do.
Boggs short on the grass. And there goes Dykstra, hit and run foul ball, and Backman tried to fight it off, hit it into left field, and fouled it into the stand.
He picked the right man because Owen was covering, and that was a good piece of hitting on the part of Backman, because he saw Owen and he's just going to punch that ball even though it was inside. I tell you, these 2 guys, when they get on, they cause more meetings. Like right now, there's Oil Can Boyd and there's Barrett out there talking. Dykstra's still looking at Harrelson to see if anything is on.
There's a pretty good reason, I think, because Dykstra had a tremendous jump. The Can really didn't even look over there, and I think Gedman and Barrett are going out saying, look, this guy runs. You've got to at least look at him. Watch his jump. See, Boyd never looked.
He started early. He started early, too.
Yeah. Oh,
and stopped. If he'd have gone that first time, he might have stolen that base.
1 ball and 1 strike to count. Well, we'll keep an eye on Dykstra. Nobody out in the 5th inning. 4-1 Mets. 1-1. 2-1. If you're the base runner looking over at Oil Can Boyd, remember we mentioned he has a high set. He brings his hands together up above the letters on his chest. The one thing he did that time, it was a very pronounced set. He slapped his elbows into his sides. Remember the way Joe Morgan used to hit? Well, that's the way he slapped those elbows in.
He can do so many things because Bachman is such a good bunter.
And they're going to go over now. Of course, it figured. He got away with it when Bachman swung at that pitch. Dykstra's trying desperately to read the Can's move.
He's really bearing down, as you can see on that, and he had ideas.
Pretty good lead, too. He's going 2-1 and swung on and hit to Buckner. He had another good jump. In fact, I was surprised Boyd didn't throw to first because he had such a good lead. So Bachman pops out or grounds out it to Buckner, moving Dykstra along, and the batter is Keith Hernandez.
He had 3 steps as he was going towards the plate. Now, you can see Dykstra, though, looking towards the plate because the hit-and-run play was on. He wants to see what happens. It was not a straight steal. The other time, he had such a big jump that I thought maybe that Bachman might even take that pitch, which he certainly can do.
Well, now with 1 away, Hernandez trying to pick him up. Dykstra at second in the 5th inning, 4-1 Mets. On deck, Gary Carter. Hernandez singled to center and grounded to Buckner. When he grounded in the 2nd inning, it was a little surprising. We're expecting Hernandez to hit like Boggs, in the sense take the outside pitch and go the other way with it here. He tried to pull it and just hit a little ground ball. 0-1. Jim Rice is pinching the middle, as is Dwight Evans in right. So they're giving Hernandez the lines in left and right. Dykstra, good runner at second base. Ball 2.
Henderson in center field is straight away. Hernandez uses the whole ballpark, but with 2 balls and no strikes, he can have himself a pretty good cut.
In there. Probably the hardest swing Hernandez took in the series was that out to Dwight Evans right down the right field line at Shea Stadium. He was going for the downs that time. But now they count 2 balls and 1 strike. Way out in front of 2-2.
Can change speeds, and Hernandez out in front. He knew it.
1 out, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Dykstra at second. And he drives it to right. Evans going back as Dykstra tags. Dwight for the catch, and Dykstra will advance to third as Barrett runs the ball back to the infield and flip it to Spike on. So if nothing else, Hernandez got his man to third. Now it's up to Carter to pick him up with 2 out. And on deck, Darryl Strawberry. Carter doubled to drive in a run and fly to center.
Gary Carter, the catcher. Carter.
4 runs, 6 hits for the Mets. 1 run, 3 hits for the Sox. We're in the 5th with 2 out. Lenny Dykstra on the bag at third. Out in front of an off-speed pitch and fouls it into the crowd behind the dugout. 0-1. Carter has been a big RBI man for Davey Johnson and his crew all year long. Picked up an RBI, his 2nd of the World Series, when he doubled in a run in the 1st inning. Now he has a chance to pick up his 3rd.
Again, curveball.
Dykstra bluffing down the line, and the curve is popped up, and going out to get it on the grass is Spike going, and that's that. The Mets lead Dykstra at third, and at the end of 4.5 innings, The Mets score, and the Red Sox won.
Gets Carter, and it was just a weak pop fly, but just watch his reaction.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Red Sox remind you beer is not sold in Fenway Park after the 7th inning. Thank you.
Wasn't that something?
That'll cause you to do it.
Yep. Slow curveball, and you pop it up, and we go to the bottom of the 5th. 4-1 Mets with Henderson, Owen, and Boggs in that order. You know, when the series started, we talked about the fact that the Red Sox and the Mets, in a sense, shared one thing, the common rivalry with the Yankees, and it has not been forgotten in Boston. There was a sign here at Fenway Park. It said, Sox 2, Mets nothing. Yankees, no game today. Henderson single to left field in the 3rd inning. Hindu 1 for 1. Ball 1.
He's a perfect example of what that wall will ask you if you make a mistake. He likes that ball up, out, away from him. You have to get it inside, because if you get it up and away, look out.
On the corner as he throws that off-speed pitch. And the count 1-1. Bobby Ojeda leading 4-1 in the bottom of the 5th. Ball 2.
See how they're trying to pitch him way down off speed. Don't let him get those big arms out there.
2-1. Oh, what a great pitch. Wow.
I think he had a string attached to that one, just yanked it back.
2-2 to Dave Henderson. Take another look at it.
You can see him as he grips it. Just off speed, he was way out in front.
And another one. You talk about trying to defuse a bomb. That's what Bobby Ojeda does. He stands out there and throws change after change. If he makes a mistake, he gets killed. Instead, he picks up his 4th strikeout.
The oversimplification of pitching is to keep the hitter off stride, and there was the classic example.
The Reds, a very good team in the National League, very good hitting team. He struck out 10 in a game against them. Here's Spike Owen, who might be the kind of hitter who doesn't figure to strike out against an off-speed pitcher, because he is not a big hacker, and he lined out the 3rd in the 3rd inning. Right. Spike followed by Wade Boggs. And he just showed him that he does have a fastball. A little rip job, and the count 1-1.
And you see where he put it. He put it inside, as if to send a message that I'm not afraid to come in there.
1 ball, 1 strike. Ball 2, 2-1. As straight away as you can get. Fastball hit to the right side, smothered by Backman, who throws him out. That's strictly going to dirt and get it.
Davey Johnson really likes Backman. I'll tell you, he says the chemistry and the drive that Backman has just goes right off the Richter scale. Put it together, and you got yourself a pretty good second baseman, and you just saw it there.
You know, when you said Davey Johnson liked him, no one in the Mets organization was that fond of his abilities, except Backman, who played for Davey Johnson at Tidewater. So when Davey got the job with the Mets, he knew about Backman's abilities, and of course Backman became a star. Here's Wade Boggs. Fastball. Wow, started him right off. Surprised him for a strike.
Boggs hasn't swung at the first pitch yet, so why not try it? And he's ahead of him, although it doesn't mean much with him. 2-2 is his favorite count, Wade Boggs.
0-1. And he lines it the other way.
That's his strategy, from the speaker to the left field line, and I tell you, he can really handle that bat.
So Boggs singles to left. He's 1 for 2, and that'll bring up Marty Barrett. Take another look at it.
Inside out, he's going all the way. There you see it.
Boy, what a hit.
A magician. He in at Mattingly or something.
Now Marty Barrett hit back to the box in the first inning, and as he has done so often in the series, gone the other way and single to right.
He's got a big hole between first and second with Boggs on at first.
His single to right scored Henderson from second base for the only Sox run in the third inning. Strike. That's Ojita's plan, trying all night to stay ahead of the hitters. No balls, one strike. On deck, Bill Buckner. Change died of exhaustion, I think, on the way to the plate. 1 ball, 1 strike.
And did you see how Gary Carter caught that ball? He caught it with the face of the glove on facing the ground. I mean, not coming up. There's the grip. Across the seams means a high riding fastball. That's a change of pace thing.
If he stays with that grip.
Yeah.
1-1. He did. Ball 2, 2-1. A pitcher like Ojita, all you can think of, and Davy Johnson must think of it once in a while, a high wire act in a windstorm. Can he possibly make it to the other side?
Ojita with his changeup is just barely making the speed limit. He's 65 miles an hour.
2-1.
Over it.
Change in there. So deuces wild on Marty Barrett with Boggs at first. 4-1 Mets. We're in the bottom of the 5th inning.
The radar gun with the smile said 62 miles. I think Carter was 55 throwing it back.
2-2. Time.
He just about didn't make it. You could see the confusion. Wendelstedt's going to talk to him about it. He said, well, you're just taking too much time, and Barrett apologizing to it.
Yeah, the rules say that the umpire does not have to call time at all when a pitcher is in his delivery, and you see Ojita was in his delivery. However, an umpire is always worried that if the hitter begs for time and winds up getting hit in the head, it would be a disaster. So he let Barrett get away with it, but he doesn't have to, not that late. Ball 3. Now, of course, with a full count, Carter pointing, reminding him Buckner's on deck, and the fact that Boggs will be going at first, Hernandez back and off the bag. Big pitch. Buckner on deck will be the possible tying run. Runner goes, shot up the middle, base hit. Boggs will hold as Dykstra throws back of him to Backman. So the Red Sox are in business with 2 out. Boggs and Barrett single, and here comes Buckner.
Barrett is one of those guys, as we look at Stottlemyre, Barrett just keeps the inning alive. Nothing flashy, just dependable, and how valuable a player like that can be, because now you got your 3rd, 4th, and 5th place hitters up there, and that's how you score the runs.
And as you can see, Buckner was equal to the challenge behind Jim Rice. And the Sox can manufacture runs in a hurry, and they have the opportunity. Boggs at second, Barrett at first, 2 out. Buckner flied to right pretty deep and struck out. Ojita facing his 3rd challenge of the night. Remember the Baylor double in the 2nd inning, the 2 singles and a walk for a run in the 3rd, and now back-to-back singles here in the 5th. Starts him with a breaking ball for a strike. And of course, as you look at this inning, remember the ball that Spike Owen hit. Wally Backman making that diving, smothering stop, or else Ojita would have given up 3 consecutive hits. Fastball, and he was late on it. Santana to Backman for the 4th. Buckner never got around on it, and the hitters are being lulled by the changeup, and the fastball is leaving them at the platform. 4-1 New York.
And I want Davy Johnson to turn to me in those crucial times as he's done all year, and I feel like I'm the guy to come through with a big hit when they need it, and you know, I have confidence in my ability to do that. So when you come down to making out a lineup, I like to think that he thinks of my name. And obviously the matchup was good for Hojo and Danny Heap because they are good fastball hitters. But nonetheless, it hurt my feelings simply because I feel that I'm a fastball hitter too, and we've won with me all year. And I was just disappointed I wasn't a part of it.
Here's Darryl Strawberry. Talk about disappointed, and he lifts a fly ball into left center, and Dave Henderson is there. One away. You know, Ray Knight talking about not being in the lineup as he comes up to the plate. But let's go back a little bit. Remember, it was the 4th inning. The Red Sox were leading 4-2. Danny Heap walked, and Johnson hit a ball that I would say 90% of the time is a home run into the Mets bullpen, and it would have tied up the game. Then all of a sudden, Johnson's move would have been remarkable. Shot foul, and that'll send them scurrying in the far end of the dugout, not to mention what it'll do to a cameraman. But he's big enough to take it.
Dangerous territory when they get that ball inside, or they're going to try to pull that ball against the wall. That was an off-speed pitch, and Ray Knight just went out and got it, and he just jerked it right to the left side.
Knight, the board on a fielder's choice, and popped up, but the fielder's choice is a big part of the ballgame. Little roller down to shortstop, backhanded by Owen. Almost threw it away. Good play by Billy Buck.
There was the perfect pitch, Ben, that the hitter really should stay away from if he's going to try to pull it against the wall, low outside. You cannot pull that pitch. Now, he's got plenty of time here, and he just throws it badly, but it was a routine ground ball.
25.
Buckner makes a nice play, dancing over in the foul territory.
So with 2 out here in the 6th inning, Danny Heap will be coming up. Take another look at Owen's throw. It just was a sailor. Buckner able to handle it and at the same time get out of the way of Knight. Remember when Knight hit the ground ball to Boggs, and the Sox should have gotten at least 1 and instead messed up the rundown, and the bases were loaded. And then Heap singled to drive in 2 runs. That's the biggest single play of the night. Last time up, he flied to center in the 4th. Ball 2, 2-0. Dennis Oil Can Boyd. Boy, what a story he's been here in Boston. Off the end of the bat, little fly ball to right, and Evans comes up for it. So the Mets tiptoe quietly in the 6th inning. 6 in a row retired by the Can, and at the end of 5 1/2, 4-1 Mets. In contrast in styles has developed as we go to the bottom of the 6th inning. Oil Can Boyd, you remember, had a bad 1st inning. He has retired 17 of the last 18 batters that he has faced since his troubles. Meanwhile, Ojeda had a 1-2-3 1st inning and has been in some trouble every inning but the 4th. So the Can has settled down. Now it's a question of whether the Sox can catch Ojeda. Jim Rice, Don Baylor, and Dwight Evans in that order. Rice struck out, called out on a 3-2 pitch, and that was followed by Baylor's double. That was a big call. 0-1. Last time up, he hit into a force play at short. That was in the 3rd inning. He led the Sox in home runs here at Fenway. He hit 10 here this year. Ball 2. Fouled away. A little late on the fastball. He didn't have a good hack at it, and it goes up on the roof.
Well, his hitting theory is pretty simple. I see the ball, I react. If you've got good reflexes, you don't need philosophy.
And with 10 home runs at Fenway, he's proven his point. 2-1 to Jim. Three and 1.
Those are messages, and a good pitcher does that. He backs him right off the plate. And it sets up his off-speed pitches.
3-1. And he missed. So another Red Sox runner gets aboard as Rice opens up the 6th inning with a walk. Johnson knows he barely got out of the 5th inning without giving up a run. As we said, the play by Backman followed by 2 singles. Now Rice walks, and here's Baylor, who doubled and grounded to short. 4-1 Mets. But it's a bumpy ride for Bobby Ojeda here in the 6th. 0-1. The change is not coming to strikes now.
You can see he doesn't have much of a target inside because Baylor hovers over that plate and strong enough to pull that pitch outside against that left field wall. Look how close he is to that plate. He's daring you.
Fastball for a strike.
Well, that's threatening the needle right there. I mean, low outside. Perfect pitch.
Baylor on top of the plate, number one, because he doesn't like the ball inside. That's why he gets hit so much. He wants you to get it away from him. And that's fisted in the air. A little blooper to Santana, and Knight takes it away from him. A little lack of communication there.
24.
Ojeda came inside with his fastball, not known as a fastball pitcher, and he was able to jam Baylor, and looks like Santana's going to make the play, and Knight says, oh, I'll take it as long as I'm here.
So 1 away. Rice still at first, and Dwight Evans will be coming up. Valet and a bump. Evans grounded to short, and remember last time up in the 4th inning, chopped the ball out in front of the plate. Killed a few worms, and then Carter threw him out. Standing at first, Jim Rice. Started him with a change and got it over this time. 0-1.
Carter almost has a ritual. He'll look at Evans to see if he's in the same spot, and then he'll look up to see if he's sneaking a look, and then down the first base line. There he is looking up, and there he is down the first base line.
And Evans asking for time again, just as Ojeda was ready to deliver. They're really giving him a bad time that way. Marty Barrett did it, and then singled. 1-1. That's okay to ask for time now, but that's twice the Red Sox have gotten away with bending the rule. 1 ball, 1 strike. Fastball, and it's hit foul off to the right. Very doubtful. It will be well back into the stands. 1-2.
Here's what we mean about Gary Carter behind that plate, just checking everywhere. There you see him looking down the first base line. Now he's checking Evans. Back to first.
1-2 the count. 1 out. Hit in the air foul, slicing down the right field line, and that figures to go well back into the stand. You know, if you're a hitter, you have to love Fenway, and never mind the wall, never mind the dimensions down the line. Outside of around home plate, there's hardly any foul ground at all here. So, of course, you can foul balls that in a lot of other ballparks will be caught. And here you get a bunch of extra swings over the course of a game or a year.
Really been changing speeds on Evans, had him off stride almost on every pitch. This will be an interesting one coming up here. He's got him set up for whatever he wants to do.
1-2. And he gave him the changeup, and Dewey is way out in front of it. Boy, that is something. That's 5 strikeouts for Bobby Ojeda.
He changed speeds on him, and with 2 strikes, he could have gone anyway. Fastball up and in, or do what he did right here. And Dewey trying to protect that plate. He got it in a great spot.
Interesting watching Ojeda. It's not as if he fakes you with his head or his shoulder. It must have something to do with the arm speed and the stride, where you have to think it's coming harder than it is. He starts getting them with a breaking ball.
There's no question about that. And he also, the rhythm with which he pitches, that's what's causing Barrett to back out and Evans to back out. He's not getting the ball pitch, get the ball pitch, get the ball pitch. He's varying it.
1-0. On the hands with a fastball. It's hit high and foul. Coming over is Carter and Hernandez. No play.
Carter's coming over. He thinks he has a play, and the wind's swirling here. He finds himself. You saw him look for the stands. He knows how much room he has. Still looking, and then Hernandez comes over. And he kind of gave it one of those attempts, hoping it was there.
You know, I was wondering about a catcher, and I realize that you call it, so you shouldn't be fooled on a change. But the hitter is way out in front. Do you ever find yourself, when you were catching a guy through changes, you were lunging at the ball sometimes?
Only if he did it on his own. And then you go out and talk to him, because that messes up the infielders. No, you should never be fooled.
1 ball and 1 strike to Rich Gedman. Curveball. Oh, did he break off a deuce? Years ago, Roy Campanella called that public enemy #1, and that has imprisoned more hitters than anything you'd ever want to look at. Look at this snake.
And he also took something off. I mean, that's not as good a curveball as oil cans as far as breaking down, but the off speed, the way he changes speeds. And again, he's got him set up perfectly.
Another curve, and they're going to check at third. No swing, and an emphatic call by Dale Ford. I mean, he was going to let everybody in the state know. I think he was a little bit annoyed that Carter would even ask.
I don't know.
I would ask.
I would ask. I mean, it was almost like he wanted some TV time.
2-2. In the dirt, the curveball goes behind Carter, and moving to second base is Rice. Carter instinctively waving with his hand as he went back after the ball, telling Knight to go to third and waking up Ojeda as well. Watch him.
And curveball just got right on by him. It looked like he started to shift. He didn't get his body in front of it, but he did have the glove there, and it was just a 55-footer.
Now here's a big pitch, 3-2 on deck. Dave Henderson. Curveball got him looking. Gedman doesn't believe it, but it got him. And it is 4-1 Mets at the end of 6. We'll be right back after these messages from your local station.
Here's Gedman taking the pitch, and give Ojeda credit, curveball, and of course Gedman, that ball was outside.
And down, and then he winds up saying fertilizer. And Mookie Wilson, it's a high foul ball down the right field line. Buckner with Barrett behind him. It's Buckner. One out in the 7th inning, and Rafael Santana coming up. Oil Can Boyd has now retired 18 of his last 19 batters, but he was touched up and roughed up for a 4-run first inning, and it's 4-1 New York in the 7th. Santana hit into a force play, grounded to third, 0 for 2.
3. Rafael Santana. Shortstop.
Santana had 2 hits Sunday against Roger Clemens. He came into the postseason really sharpened up. He had a very quiet bat all year, and he hit about 280 the last month or so. 0-1. Flying open. 0-2. Oil Can Boyd. One of the great quotes of the year was in May when the Red Sox had a game fogged out in Cleveland. He said, "What do you expect when you build a stadium by the ocean?" So he wasn't a geography major at Jackson State. Up the middle for a base hit on an 0-2 pitch. So a 1-out single to center by Santana. And it'll bring up Len Dykstra. Friends, we'd like to remind you once again, we'll be selecting the NBC Miller Lite Player of the Game at the conclusion of the ballgame. At 7 hits off the can, Lenny Dykstra homered in the first inning to right, grounded out in the second, and singled to left in the 5th, and they left him at third. So Dykstra 2 for 3, with Wally Backman on deck. Buckner is looking bunt. Boggs has to look bunt. He's in on the grass at third.
I'd look for a play more than I would a bunt.
Maybe hit and run right now.
Yes, sir.
1 ball and no strikes.
In fact, I think I'd pitch out.
1-1. Every now and then, Davy Johnson goes wild because he thinks Dykstra's taking a home run swing. Of course, the home run was a big one in the league championship series, and he hit a home run in the first inning. But I'm sure Bill Robinson and Davy constantly saying to Dykstra, hey, little man, you're not up there to hit a home run. He took a home run swing on that pitch. 1-1. And there's the bunt we thought about. Strike 2.
Davey might have put that on after he took that big swing.
Maybe. He said, hold it. John McNamara enjoying the fruits of his labors so far this year. One and 2 to Lenny Dykstra. Now with 2 strikes. Boggs is sure Dykstra wouldn't try to bunt. He goes back to a normal depth. Buckner holding the corner on Santana. And he whacks it into right field. Base hit. Santana to second. Evans with the good arm. And Santana will not test him.
I love when outfielders do that, too. They see that runner go back, so they throw it to shortstop. And the runner just happens to be in the vicinity. He's got to go down. It's almost like an outfielder's knockdown pitch.
Throw it right at his head. So first and second. Watch this now. Watch him take dead aim at Santana.
The Santana's just standing there. You better get down. That's just a little message, friendly message.
Well, now Wally Backman comes up with 2 on and 1 out in the 7th. 4-1 New York. Joe Sambito and Bob Stanley begin to loosen up in the Red Sox bullpen. Backman single, struck out, and grounded out. Right.
Backman's hitting theory is very simple. He tries to take the fastball over the shortstop's head. As we look at Stanley and Sambito, the left-hander. He is taking the fastball over the shortstop's head. If he is a little bit early, it's right up the middle where there's the most room.
Boyd has not walked a batter tonight. He's in a little trouble here, however. 2 on, 1 out. Good. And Backman way out in front of that one. Remember now, the hit was 0-2 to Santana. Though maybe his control was a little too good in those sequences of pitches. Then Dykstra singled. Now he has Backman 0-2. On deck, Keith Hernandez. Little fly ball to shallow left. Rice has a play. So the runners hold. In talking about Boyd, control, of course, is one of the mainstays of his work. He walked more than 2 in a game only 3 times this year. So he's throwing strikes. Still no walks tonight, and now he goes head-to-head with a man who walks a lot, Keith Hernandez. Hernandez singled to center, grounded to Buckner, and flied to right. Two on, 2 out. 7th inning, 4-1 New York. Looking ahead for the Sox, they'll have Henderson, Owen, and Boggs in the bottom of the 7th. Started him fastball away. Ball 1. 1-0. And no strikes to count to Keith Hernandez. Rafael Santana at second. Lenny Dykstra at first. 2 out in the 7th. 4-1 New York.
This is when you get in trouble. A hitter like Hernandez, who's got that great concentration, 2 balls and no strikes, he'll look for a particular pitch in a particular spot.
Two 2-0. Remember where we showed you Buddy Harrelson was coaching from earlier, where he was beyond the coaching box? Now he's in front of the box, because if Hernandez hits the ball down the right field line, then Harrelson will come way down the line to shepherd the runners. If there's a ball hit to left field, then he really has to make a decision with Santana. The fact that Rice can charge and come up throwing. 2-0, the count to Keith Hernandez. Ball 3. Spike Owen trying to bird dog Santana with a left-hand hitter up. The shortstop is right behind Santana prior to the pitch. Carter on deck.
3-0 in Shea Stadium. They gave Hernandez the green light. You can bet that if he got it there, he's got it here. So it's up to him if he wants a whack at this one.
With 94 walks, you don't figure he'd chase a bad one. And he won't, and walks to load him up. So Gary Carter will come up with the bases loaded, 2 out in the 7th inning, with the Mets leading 4-1, and for the umpteenth time in postseason, Carter has an opportunity to drive in some people.
The last time he was up there, and then McNamara is coming out to talk to Oil Can now.
The first walk in the game given up by the Can.
They were throwing curveballs to Carter, but see what happens here.
We'll see if that walk is a distress signal. Whether John just trying to soothe his feathers. Can looks like he's pleading his case to a very tough judge.
He's got his mind made up. He just wants to hear how El Can is answering his questions.
Okay.
If John wanted to take him out, he'd have hooked him right there. Go out there with your mind made up, and then you ask a few questions, and if they're tentative, boom, out.
Well, here we go. Carter with the bases loaded. Santana at third. Dykstra at second. Hernandez at first. Gary's home run, a slam in '86, was against David Palmer of Atlanta. Right. Looks like he started him with a slider.
Took something off. Last time was 2 curveballs, and Gary hit the second one. He just changed speeds.
33,595 here at Fenway. Way out in front. And they want to explode with relief. So does McNamara.
Location on this one would be most important.
Crowd really alive now, trying to root the Oil Can out of it.
Can's got his mind made up. He just wants to make sure that Gedman finally gets around to it.
0-2. Line drive, base hit into left field. Santana will score. Right back of him is Dykstra. The throw, he's in there, gets away from Gedman, and there are 2 Mets near second base. The throw to second, back to Buckner, and a one-legged first baseman chasing Carter, and the tag will be made at last at second base. So the Mets run themselves out of an inning, but not before they deposit 2 more. And at the end of 6.5 innings, the Mets 6, the Red Sox 1.
He's making the throw. And now it begins. It goes to the plate, runs, scores, and they've got 2 base runners down at second base. And Carter's in no man's land.
That's some race, isn't it?
Carter's trying to stay in it long enough to let Hernandez try to come around and score, but no way he could do that.
If you're keeping score, remember the throw started as Oil Can walks off downcast and disgusted. That last play went 7-2, 4-3-6.
Well, he really has no one to blame but himself. The best pitch that Carter had to hit was the 2-strike pitch. He had a 2-strike count and gave a base hit away, and then the big clutch hit to Carter.
Dave Henderson, spike on, and that's as quiet a 7th inning stretch as you will ever see outside of Shea Stadium. When we were there, the 33,000 stood up tentatively and then just sat back down. It is 6-1 New York in the 7th. Henderson singled and struck out. Down in the bullpen, left-hander Joe Sambito, tuning up for the Sox, a former Met, so it could be they're going to put the lid on the can.
Well, I don't know what gets the manager upset quicker than a 2-strike no-ball pitch that somebody can handle, which Santana and Carter did in that inning.
1 ball and 1 strike.
Carter up there and that base is loaded. You got him where you could work on him, and to give him a ball he could handle is just, you can't pardon it.
Big slow rainbow. Ball 2. 2-1 to Hendu. 1 for 2. 6 runs, 9 hits for New York. 1 run, 5 hits for Boston. Three and 1. The count to Dave Henderson. Leading off the 6th inning, got away with it. Now he walks Henderson leading off the 7th, and he's annoyed at himself. Is Ojeda leading by 5 runs? The last thing he wants to do is walk a leadoff man. That's the 3rd walk that Ojeda has given up. 3 walks, 6 strikeouts. And here's Spike Owen, line to 3rd. And remember, Backman made a big play on him, and Johnson saw Backman throw out Owen, and then Boggs and Barrett single consecutively. Ball 1.
Especially in this ballpark, the one thing you want to stay away from is the base on balls. You got to make them hit their way on, and that's pretty much what Carter will do. He maybe buy a little time for the bullpen.
No one throwing yet, and I use that word yet advisedly because windbreakers are coming off in the Mets bullpen. The Sox, as we know, Joe Sambito is getting ready, but they're moving around now in the New York bullpen. Here, no? We'll double check. Yes, it is Roger McDowell. So 0-0 for 2. Henderson at first. In there. 1-1. There's Roger. Sinker ball pitcher. Wade Boggs on deck. Crowd coming alive. That walk just seemed to shake everybody up. Ball 2. And they start a little wave. Again, ball 3. So Ojeda walks Henderson and is now behind a Spike Owen. That, of course, will be the cardinal sin to walk Owen at Fenway Park. How's he doing in a ratio, Joe?
57 strikes, 46 balls, 103 pitches. So I couldn't say that would get you an award.
3-1. In there. Wade Boggs, who has a walk and a single in 3 trips.
Well, Healy's been able to make that big pitch when he's had to do it.
And this is a big one for him right now. 3-2 to Spike Owen. Back. 6-1 New York. Bottom of the 7th. Nobody out. Ojeda has retired the side in order only twice, in the first inning and in the fourth inning. And it's a one-hopper. Flag by Backman. Goes to Santana. Back to Hernandez. What a double play. Oh, what a picture book double play. Backman, Santana, Hernandez taking what looked like a sure base hit away from Spike Owen.
Ball is well hit. Backman comes up with it, finds his man even though he's off balance, and Santana didn't wait that time. He knew who was running, and he makes a tremendous pivot. Here's the play right here, to be off balance and give Santana such a good ball to handle.
So Spike Owen should be 2 for 2 in his last 2 at-bats. He has been robbed twice, and each time would put a roadblock up against the Red Sox offense. In the 5th inning, Backman robbed him, and then you had singles by Boggs and Barrett. And now he takes the steam out in the 7th on a shot to right, and Backman turns it into a deuce. 2-0. It is almost a note of irony to see Wally Backman making dazzling plays and realize the only difference between these two teams in Game 1 was the error by Tim Tuffle. Pop foul off third. Knight not quitting. He comes to the lip of the dugout, but it's back in. 2-1. Boy, that's got to bust you inside when you hit a ball that hard, and instead of a base hit, you hit into a double play.
That's the difference between the major leagues and the minor leagues.
And then the major league hitter Boggs coming up, instead of having people out there and the place going crazy, you have 2 out, bases empty. What a play.
Well, that's what you tell the pitcher. Give us a chance. As we look at Tuffle, give us a chance to make a play, we'll make it. But a base on balls, there's no defense against that.
2-1. Popped in the air around the plate, and Carter says he has it. He
Tough
threw his
play.
mask away very early, and he winds up 4 feet in front of it. Wally Backman turned that inning completely inside out, just as he did the 5th inning, and it's 6-1 New York. 34-year-old Joe Sambito, born in Brooklyn, New York, but raised in the Houston organization, and he was a solid performer for the Astros, particularly back around 1979, 1980, and 1981. Then he had arm trouble, didn't play at all in '83. Eventually came out of the Houston organization, and the Mets picked him up. Then from the Mets, this year, he wound up winning 2, no losses for Boston. Before joining the Red Sox this year, he hadn't had a save since April of '82. So Joe Sambito against the Mets, and it'll be Darryl Strawberry, Ray Knight, and Danny Heap. Strawberry has struck out and twice flied to center. 6-1 New York, battling to stay alive in the World Series. We're in the 8th inning. And Sambito is greeted with a line drive base hit to center. So Darryl Strawberry leads off with the base hit. That'll bring up Ray Knight. Oil Can Boyd went 7 innings, allowed 6 runs, 9 hits, 5 of the hits and 4 of the runs in the first inning. The Can walked 1 and struck out 4. Ray Knight aboard on the fielder's choice. Bad defensive play by the Sox, allowing the Mets to load the bases, and then Heap single to drive in 2 in the first inning. Knight since then popped up, grounded out. Kevin Mitchell is now out on deck, right hand or left, and he'll be hitting evidently for Danny Heap. So Mitchell, the switch hitter, on deck. There's Kevin. Strawberry at first, nobody out in the 8th. 6-1 Mets. Zambito against left-hand batters held them to less than a 200 batting average this year. So it was a little surprise to see Strawberry walk up there and bang one to center on him. And he's in the dirt. Strawberry is on his way to second. Zambito recovers, but no chance to throw.
Strawberry really didn't hesitate at all. As soon as that ball hit the dirt, he took off. He was very alert. Hit the Gedman shin guards and rolled right out to the plate. Right off the left shin guard, and Zambito comes up with it, but way too late.
Wild pitch, allowing Strawberry to take second, and to count 2 balls and no strikes to Ray Knight. Tomorrow night, game 4 figures to be Al Nippert for Boston and Ron Darling for the Mets. Off the mitt, and that thing really sailed.
He crossed him up, man. I got to believe that.
Oh, yeah. You know, basically, Zambito is a sinker ball pitcher.
Yeah, he had to cross him up on that one. We were just talking there.
They're calling that a pass ball on Gedman, but he had no idea. I think he was looking for a ball down, and look at how high it is, although he did get his mitt on it.
Yeah, but it almost like he just was looking for a breaking ball, not only down, but a breaking ball. Now the infield's got to come in.
And Bob Stanley is up in the Sox bullpen. So Strawberry at third, nobody out in the 8th, 6-1 Mets, and Knight trying to pick him up. Foul back. So they let him rip 3-0, and he fouled it away. You have Lee Mazzilli also coming out on deck, along with Kevin Mitchell. John McNamara has seen the Mets jump on Boyd for 4 in the first inning and then break it open somewhat in the 7th. Ground ball inside third and down the line into the corner. So Strawberry scores easily. Knight into second base and holding. So the Mets' #1 hitter against left-hand pitching doubles into the corner and gives the Mets a very comfortable 7-1 lead. And all of a sudden, Fenway Park sounds like Shea Stadium.
Wide of the bag, and it's just between Boggs and the bag. And Strawberry easily, he can just walk in.
John McNamara, talking about walking, is on his way to the mound.
He's had Bob Stanley warming up out there, and it's the whole raft of pinch hitters coming out.
And he wants him. So Bob Stanley will be coming in, and the Mets, who did not have an extra base hit, are feasting on him tonight. Just a reminder for all you folks about local news on most of these NBC stations coming up next. Relief pitcher Bob Stanley will have to pick up the pieces from Joe Zambito. Stanley, who pitched so well Sunday night. He worked 3 innings, allowed just 2 hits, struck out 3, and they could have written his name in capital letters that night. Right now, with a 7-1 score, John just writes it out normal style. So Big Stanley, who has that great palm ball to left-hand batters, so he might look for it right now. Lee Mazzilli is the hitter. And in case you wonder, he's hitting for Kevin Mitchell. Remember, Mitchell and Mazzilli were out on deck to bat for Danny Heath, and Mitchell was technically in the game.
Stanley also has a good sinker to go with that palm ball, and if he's got the good sinker going, he could get the ground ball, and that, of course, is what they're looking for.
Interesting thing about Lee Mazzilli, when he originally signed as a free agent with Tidewater in the Mets farm system. Here's a ground ball to Marty Barrett. That will move Knight over. Just to conclude the thought, Mazzilli in his first game hit a home run against the AAA team that belonged to the Boston Red Sox, Pawtucket. No big deal, but it happened. So Knight at third, 1 away, and here's Mookie Wilson. Struck out, grounded out, fouled out. So far, anyway, the only writers capable of handling this story for the state of Massachusetts would be John Updike, Stephen King, or Robert Parker. It is 7-1 New York. The infield up. A strike to Mookie. 0-2. 7 runs, 11 hits for the Mets. 1 run, 5 hits for the Red Sox.
This is where Stanley would be looking for that pound ball he threw Hernandez to get that big strikeout.
0-2. Fouled away. In the inning, Strawberry singled to center against Sambito. He was wild pitch to second, and a pass ball got him to third. Knight doubled him in, and Mazzilli grounds out. Knight taking third. Tim Lawler begins to air it out in the Red Sox bullpen. Foul ball out of play, and there was the palm ball. You could see Mookie kind of, you talk about a double clutch when you're defensive. He was double clutching with a hitting, trying to hold back on it.
I'm not kidding you. When you get that off-speed pitch and you're really looking for something else, and it's a real good one, you can almost feel your feet leaving you.
1-2, the count to Mookie Wilson.
Then Al Nipper has gone home for the night. He's going to pitch tomorrow. He wants his rest, and so he watched most of the game, and he'll be ready for tomorrow. We just got that word.
On the hands, and Mookie fought it off. Boy, that was a good pitch. Did a good job just to stay alive. 1-2.
There's that pound ball once again. I was talking to Stanley about it. I said, not only the pound ball, look at the expression on his face, but let's see. There's the rotation. That's what the batter is seeing.
1-2, the count to Mookie Wilson. Fouled away again.
For some reason, even in my day when they threw that thing, you know the feeling you get? You ever see something in a dryer by itself? It just tumbles. That's the feeling you get.
2-2. Big start for Al Nipper tomorrow night. I was just thinking about it. A year ago, he went on the disabled list with an ulcer. So it might be a tough night's sleep for him tonight. Way out in front. The palm ball gets another left-hand hitter.
Big strikeout in that spot. Now the infield, of course, can drop back with 2 men out. He did what he had to do, get the ground ball. He lost the base, but he gets the strikeout.
That's the 4th World Series strikeout for Bob Stanley.
You could really see the rotation on that ball. And Mookie, out in front, had a good cut, but a little bit too far out in front.
Rafael Santana hit into a force play, grounded to third, single to center. Came around to score in the 7th inning. Santana 1 for 3. Middleman on that big double play in the 7th inning, started by Wally Backman. Santana also, when you think about it, in the 3rd inning, made a tough play look so easy. There's a comeback of the Stanley. So Santana's not going to get any headlines, but he's had a pretty good evening. So have the Mets as a team. They pick up another run, and they lead 7-1.
Do me a favor. Don't cheer me up.
James, you lost an arm. That's not the end.
I lost my work. I'm a liability.
You're not going to settle for that.
James was my best driver. She said he's still your best driver. I don't know how you're going to do this. Eleanor, she works for Aetna. Aetna carries our insurance. Company with people like that woman's got something going for it, I tell you.
Hey, Aetna. I'm glad I met you.
Old rule of mine. You work with the best in the business.
You sure it's not out of your way?
It's nowhere out of my way. Like you went for me.
Just when you need it most, Toyota introduces a roomy new kind of getaway car, the versatile new Toyota Corolla FX16. The all-new FX16 slips through traffic that snarls other cars. 16-valve quick. Tires that stick. 4-wheel disc equipped. The gutsy new Toyota FX16. What a way to get away from it all. Who could ask for anything more?
Friday on Miami Vice. The city is ripped wide open by a brutal drug war. Friday.
Well, we talk about tradition continuing, the past and the present here tonight. You're looking at former commissioner of baseball, Bowie Kuhn, and the present commissioner of baseball, Peter Ueberroth. Roger McDowell will now try and pick up the loose ends and tie it up for Bobby Ojeda in the 8th inning. 7-1 New York. There has not been an opposing left-hander to go the distance at Fenway Park since Frank Viola in August of '85. But Ojeda did the next best thing. He gave the Mets a strong 7 innings, thanks particularly to 2 big plays by Wally Backman. Remember, Bobby Ojeda got the Mets' first win against Houston with a complete game 5-1 victory. So he certainly made his contribution. But now it'll be Barrett, Buckner, and Rice against Roger McDowell. McDowell with a great sinker, and Marty Barrett has hit back to the box and then singled twice against Ojeda. Tomorrow night against Al Nipper. So while Al Nipper is home getting his rest, Darling is here charting pitches. Strike. 1-2.
When you describe that McDowell sinker, they just refer to it as nasty.
In fact, I remember a year ago, he had such a good sinker, immediately somebody thought maybe he was monkeying around, but no official protest made. There's the sinker, and it's hit wide at first. Hernandez does a 360 and hits his man on the move. Boy, that's a pretty play to watch.
When you watch that play, the thing that Hernandez does, in addition to the 360, is he doesn't panic. Now he comes up, he finds his man right there. He made sure he knew exactly where he was.
And look at the textbook. McDowell hitting the inside part of the bag with his right foot to get away from the runner.
Make the left turn. Stay the inside of the diamond. Practice that all spring training.
Buckner flied to right, struck out, hit into a force play, and that's a strike. 0-1. New York. Bottom of the 8th. Game 4 tomorrow night. Al Nipper and Ron Darling. The Mets scored 4 in the first, 2 in the 7th, 1 in the 8th. The only Red Sox run in the 3rd inning. Kind of a whimper of protest so far. Little Nubber down to get it is McDowell. No contest if he can get it out of his glove, and he barely did.
But did you see the play Hernandez made? Again, Hernandez dances over into foul territory. Now watch what happens here. The momentum of McDowell, it carries him over into foul territory. And if Hernandez stays in fair territory, the runner gets between him. Look where he is in foul territory, giving him a perfect line of vision.
And remember, you got a guy on one leg trying to hustle down the line. Fine play. 2 down.
I tell you, he is really something at first base. You take that kind of a play for granted. If he stays there, it could have possibly hit Buckner, but he wouldn't take the chance. Dances over there, and it's an easy play.
Here's Rice. Struck out, hit into a force play and walk. Golfs 1 to 3rd. Knight can set for the hop, and that's that. So the Sox go very quietly in the 8th inning, and at the end of 8, New York 7 and Boston 1.
You might be able to make it on your old antifreeze another year, but then again, you just might find yourself left out in the cold. Driving just 10,000 miles on weak, neglected antifreeze can cause freeze-up and make a radiator look this bad. while the Prestone radiator looks this good. So for maximum protection, don't push your luck. Change it once a year, every year with fresh Prestone.
Watch closely. You're looking at America's 2 leading premium beers. Because Miller High Life comes in a clear bottle, you probably think it's the lighter of the 2. But life is full of surprises. You see, Miller High Life is brewed darker from this special and expensive roasted malt. Pour them for yourself. See the difference roasted malt can make. Then compare the taste, and you just might find out what a beer made the American way is all about. Miller High Life.
Right now, it's building up on your teeth. A hard, ugly wall called tartar. And only your dentist can pull it down. But this wall won't stay down for long. So now there's new Colgate Tartar Control toothpaste with TC3. Clinically proven to reduce ugly tartar buildup. So your teeth will feel cleaner and smoother. New Colgate Tartar Control with fluoride fights tartar buildup for that fresh from the dentist feeling of clean.
Game 4 tomorrow night. Ron Darling, who lost that heartbreaking 1-0 game to the Red Sox on the error by Tim Tuffle, will get another shot. And Al Nipper, somewhat of a surprise starter, will go for the Red Sox tomorrow night. Red Sox trying to make it 3-1. And, of course, the Mets, if they hold on to any part of the lead tonight, will try and tie up the series. Lenny Dykstra, who started the Mets off in the right direction, homered leading off the game. And promptly grounds one to the hole, backhanded by Owen. The throw to first, he beats the throw. And that will be the 4th hit for Len Dykstra. 3 singles and a home run. So the kid from Garden Grove that they call Nails has stuck a few nails in the socks tonight.
Owen makes a nice play, but no chance to get Dykstra. He tries.
Wally Beckman, second base.
So a runner aboard, nobody out. And the batter will be Wally Backman. Singled in the first inning. Struck out twice and grounded out since. Scored a run and made 2 very vital plays defensively. This could have been a different game. If he doesn't make the play in the 5th inning, you have a runner at first and 1 out, and then Boggs and Barrett each single. They would have scored in the 5th with the Red Sox. And in the 7th inning, a walk to Henderson, and it looked like maybe the Sox would make a run, and Spike Owen had a base hit turned into a double play by Backman. 2 very big plays. A couple of left-handers throwing in the pens. The hardly used Tim Lawler in the Boston pen, and Jesse Orozco is kind of stretching out in New York. And Doug Sisk is going to join Orozco. Bouncer over the mound down to short. Owen is going to feed Barrett, and they get a force. That's all. I thought maybe Spike would try to step on the bag. And by the time he was able to get the ball to Barrett, Barrett just had to get out of there for his life.
Of course, with those 2 little rabbits, you doubt very seriously if they would have been able to come up with 2, but he's close enough to maybe take it himself. But yeah. I think he said, well, I think I'm only going to get 1 any way I go. And Dykstra just made sure that Barrett didn't throw the ball.
So Backman at first with 1 out, and Keith Hernandez, the batter, singled and grounded out, flied to right and walked. Keith 1 for 3, scored a run in the 1st inning. McNamara leading 2 games to none, coming home to the friendly confines of Fenway, having his club work out yesterday while the Mets rested. And just the opposite of what you might think. The day of rest, and the Mets produced 7 runs and a dozen hits.
And you got to believe that Davy Johnson, that it has to be the way it turns out now, a gutsy move, because he was open to a lot of criticism, but he thought that the day off would help his club to stay away from the criticism, and by golly, you look at that scoreboard, he was right.
To quote Joaquin Andujar, which takes a great deal, as Joaquin Andujar said about baseball, I can tell you about it in 1 word: you never know.
Got that right.
Yeah, that's why we were talking earlier about Oil Can Boyd pitching this game. There's a high foul out of play. Oil Can Boyd pitching the third game with his team leading 2-0. 1 year ago, it was the same situation. Joaquin Andujar lost to Bert Saberhagen 6-1. And Kansas City was on a roll. Ball 3. Three and 2 with 1 out. Buckner almost reluctantly goes over to the bag. Backman taking his lead. We'll see if they play run and hit. Nope. Instead, a base hit by a diving Boggs. And the Mets have runners at first and second, and Hernandez is 2 for 4 plus a walk. Just to clarify that for further reference, in case you not follow baseball that closely, run and hit on a 3-ball count, the batter is certainly not obligated to swing at ball 4. Hit and run, you swing to protect the runner. And here's Gary Carter. Carter doubled in a run in the first inning, flied to center, popped to short, and then singled with the bases loaded to drive in 2 in the 7th inning.
You look at that scoreboard, Vin, and you think about the Red Sox the other night, 18 base hits. The Mets have now put up 13 base hits, so the termites are out of the bat rack.
And how? The Mets, who did not have an extra base hit in the first 2 games, had Dykstra homer leading off, Carter double. Later on, they had a double by Ray Knight. 1-1. And he hits a hopper down to Owens. Spike goes to Marty, and he goes to Billy Bucks, and that's it. 6-4-3 double play, a couple of base hits and nothing else. And at the end of 8 1/2, 7-1, New York.
Is in the hands of just a few. You're at their mercy. You play by their rules. But at AT&T, we think people should be in control, not machines. So we're working to combine computers and communications to make everything about information easy. So you can get the right information to the right people, in the right form, at the right time, anywhere in the world. As easy as using the telephone. AT&T, the right choice.
Sending a letter overnight was once a prerogative reserved only for the very rich and the very wasteful. Now, with the UPS Next Day Air letter, everyone can send a letter overnight. At a paltry $8.50, you may think of it as the overnight letter for the very smart and the very frugal. UPS, we run the tightest ship in the shipping business.
Bobby Ojeda was the first pitcher in baseball history in the World Series to start a series game against the club for which he played the previous year. And he gave his team a strong 7 innings, allowing just 1 run and 5 hits. Consequently, he stands to be the winning pitcher. And there's the note. Not since Hippo Vaughn in 1918. That was the year that Ted Williams was born, and the Red Sox won their last World Series. Well, he was certainly a big part in the events tonight. McDowell now is trying to get the last 3 outs. It'll be Don Baylor, Dwight Evans, and Rich Gedman. And Marty Barrett can just think about tomorrow, perhaps. Tomorrow night. Ron Darling and Al Nipper. Don Baylor against McDowell as John McNamara talks to his troops. Not really much to say in the bottom of the ninth, down 7-1. Baylor doubled, grounded to short, and popped out. There was even a story on the double. Remember, Rice led off the inning. The count went 3-2. He was called out on strikes. He thought it was ball 4. Baylor doubled, but it was a non-productive inning. Don 1 for 3. He wants Harry Wendelstedt to look at that sinker, and it's okay. The Mets, meanwhile, have to feel a rebirth. And Howard Johnson talking to the boy from Millbury, Ron Darling. Jim Rice will look back to that call strike 3 in the second inning as part of a long evening, and then hit the ball hard in the third, and Santana short hopped it and turned it into a routine force play, but it was a much tougher play than that. Head down. Bill Buckner has given it his best shot. Buckner tonight 0 for 4. New York, bottom of the ninth, game 3. Just did get the top of that sinker.
Oh, he's got a vicious sinker. And it's a heavy ball. It's almost impossible to get under that ball and lift it for the extra base hit, the home run. You throw it low, it looks like it's a strike, and then all of a sudden she sinks. It's out of the zone, and it results in a ground ball.
1-2. Another thing about a sinker ball pitcher, remember, he relieved Darling in the 1-0 loss. He didn't pitch in the Gooden game. You can see what the sinker has done. But the point is that it seems traditionally the more you use a sinker ball pitcher, as he gets tired, he becomes even more effective. He begins to drag his arm, and the sinker sinks even more.
And it's hard to explain, but when you catch a sinker ball pitcher, your hand will puff up. I mean, it is a heavy ball. That's the way you describe it. It seems to land in your glove and just bore right in. It'll take 2-3 bites out of your hand, it seems like. And yet you'll have somebody who on the sidelines will throw that fastball and hit your mitt like he's stacking lumber, and you feel nothing. But the sinker baller, heavy.
1-2. And that's a shot foul into the crowd.
You see that a lot here, Ben, and it's inside, but it's so far inside you can't do anything but hit it foul.
I wonder, as we see John McNamara and Dick Bresciani and the Boston dugout, in watching Carter, as so many catchers do today, because they have that split catcher's mitt, you keep your left index finger out of the mitt. If that doesn't take some of the heat off the pitch as far as handling it.
Takes a lot of it off, and then they're catching it in the webbing. In the old days, you really caught it in the pocket, but with the split mitt, you catch it between the thumb and the index finger, and you keep the thumb out there, and you don't get that bad hand. You can see that thumb, and he's got some padding there, and he's got also a protective glove, but look at the webbing.
It's almost like a first baseman's mitt, the way they can fold it.
It's like a tweezer. It's a tweezer effect, and that's where they catch it, and so they protect their hands. They're just smarter than we were.
1-2, the count to Baylor. They fill up the middle. Wally Backman is almost behind second base, and then they pinch the left side. Santana deep in the hole, and Knight almost on the line. Not quite the shift that Ted Williams made famous, but almost. 2-2 to Baylor. Chopper up along third, foul ball, foul ball.
They're playing him so much to pull that Hernandez is wide of first base. If he squibs one off the end of the bat, we're liable to see some race.
Yeah, Backman is maybe 2 steps from being directly behind second. Another foul ball. A reminder, this telecast presented by authority of Major League Baseball may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form without the express written consent of Major League Baseball. Bottom of the 9th, 7-1 Mets. Roger McDowell trying to finish it off for Bobby Ojeda, who went 7. 3-2.
When Baylor talks about keeping it going, he talks about take quality swings. Well, that's the way you lead a ball club, doing exactly what he's doing. He's battling a lot of foul balls, got the count up to 3-2 and hanging tough. A quality time at bat.
Fouled away. Boy, he's fouled off a bunch, and Gary Carter, I think, got some dirt in his eyes behind the plate. He sure did.
Those foul tips, they usually dig up that dirt, and lucky he didn't get one off the end of the finger.
Especially a sinker ball, I guess, too.
Your fingers get chewed up so much. Jerry Grody said it. He used to catch for the Mets, said it best. He said you could always tell when your fingers were back in good shape, you could put the toothpaste cap back on. You really get them chewed up with these sinker ballers.
Back to work goes Carter. 3-2 to count to Don Baylor. Ground ball hard, but right at night. One precious out, expended in the 9th inning. Dwight Evans coming up. A reminder, later tonight, it's The Tonight Show, starring Johnny Carson with Johnny's special guest, Liza Minnelli. And then it's Late Night with David Letterman. Come home to the best in late night entertainment. Come home to NBC. Dwight Evans grounded to short, thrown out by Carter when he beat one out in front of the plate and struck out. Now you have strength against strength with a sinker ball pitcher against a low ball hitter. McDowell faced Evans once in this series and walked him. This time, fly ball to Strawberry. So 2 down in the 9th inning. The Mets 1 out away from their first World Series victory. For the Red Sox, of course, a disillusioning thought that a left-hander comes in here to beat him. And tonight's NBC Miller Lite players of the game, we'll use the plural, will be pitcher Bob Ojeda, who did such a great game, and Lenny Dykstra, who had the first inning home run to get the Mets off and running. So Miller Lite happy to present a check for $1,000 in the names of Bob Ojeda and Lenny Dykstra to the National Multiple Sclerosis Society. Gedman struck out twice and lined out to left. A hopper to second base. Backman cranks it up. And let's put it this way tonight. The wall, the green monster, did not figure in the game at all as the Mets beat the Red Sox 7-1. We'll be back after this.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Red Sox and the Kenmore.
Does Miller High Life come in a clear bottle just to stand out from the crowd? Or is there more to it than that? You see, Miller High Life is brewed dark and rich from this special and expensive roasted malt. How dark and rich? Compare Miller to the other leading premium and see the difference for yourself. When you brew a beer with all the quality and care that goes into Miller High Life, you put it in a clear bottle for the world to see. Because that's the American way.
raisins from the California vineyards.
Don't you know I heard it through the grapevine?
Sounds great, doesn't it?
Tonight's game is brought to you by Miller High Life. Miller made the American way since 1855. By your Toyota dealer in the all-new sporty Corolla FX16. Who could ask for anything more? By AT&T, the right choice. And by Aetna, the insurance people. Work with the best in the business. 7 runs, 13 hits for the Mets, 1 run, 5 hits for the Red Sox, and McNamara's band was muted at least in Game 3 here at Fenway Park. Let's go to the popular John and to Marv Albert.
All right, thank you, Vin. And although the Red Sox did acquire Calvin Schiraldi in a major deal, does it hurt the fact that Bob Ojeda, the man you folks traded away, came back to beat you here at Fenway?
No, not really. He pitched a very good ball game. It was a tough deal to make, you know, but we had to give up something to get something. Bob Ojeda's a very good pitcher. He showed that again tonight.
John, a critical play in the first when the Mets broke it open with 4 runs. A misplay by the Red Sox. Any truth to the report that the Red Sox will be working on rundown plays in practice tomorrow?
No, not at all. You know, it was a fundamental mistake there, and we had 2 people hung up and didn't get anybody, and it cost us a run. And you know, we can criticize, but or be, you know, corrective criticism, but you know, that's easy to do. But no, we made a mistake and it hurt us.
All right, tomorrow night, game number 4. You're going with a man who has not pitched in 17 days. Is there a concern that Al Nipper might be rusty?
No, not at all. He's been thrown in the bullpen, and he's done his job down there, and he won a big ball game against the Yankees early in the season. He's a very good competitor. I have no qualms at all.
Any regrets about not lifting Oil Can Boyd in the 7th inning, bases loaded? Gary Carter, the batter?
No, he made a mistake. He made mistakes in the first inning, probably because the adrenaline was flowing. He had Gary 0-2, and he got a screwball up in the strike zone, and he just made a mistake. No, he was not tired. When I went out and talked to him, he was fine and got ahead, made 2 good pitches, and made the mistake that cost us the 2 runs.
Getting back to the subject of Al Nipper, who the Mets will be facing tomorrow, he has had his problems, though, here at Fenway.
Well, you know, this is a whole different season, and now it's a 4-game season. They have to win 3. We have to win 2. I'm not in the least concerned about Al Nipper going to the mound tomorrow night. I have complete faith in him.
All right, John, thank you very much.
All right, Mark.
All right, for the Met point of view, let's go to Bob Costas with Len Dykstra and Bob Ojeda.
Okay, Marvin, here's the guy who jump-started the Mets tonight with the home run as the leadoff man off Oil Can Boyd. Then he goes on to make it a 4-hit night with 3 singles. Had to be a great feeling, Len.
Well, I'll tell you, Bob, we had something to prove tonight to not only to ourselves, but to the Boston Red Sox and to all of America. You know, we didn't win 108 games for nothing, and we played with some. We played the way we've been playing all year. We came out and got right after it, and hopefully we continue that into the series.
We're going to take a look at the home run you hit off Oil Can. What pitch did you hit?
Well, I hit a cutter. It was almost like a fastball, but it was a cutter down and in, and it wasn't a bad pitch. I just happened to get my barrel out, and I hit the ball pretty well.
You hit 8 homers in the regular season. Then you win Game 3 of the playoffs with a homer off Smith of the Astros. You hit a triple in the crucial 9th inning in Game 6. A homer here tonight, and look, you're not much bigger than me. Where's all this power coming from?
Well, I'll tell you what. I just, you know, I don't try and swing for the fences, but you know, I need to try and hit the ball on the ground. But I have a pretty quick bat, and if I time it right, I'm a timing hitter. Then I can hit the ball out of the ballpark or hit with power. So, you know, I don't try to hit home runs, but once in a while I'll pop one out.
Len, thanks very much. We're going to bring Bob Ojeda in. Nice job tonight. And here comes the winning pitcher, Bob Ojeda. Bob, in the playoffs after Mike Scott had beaten the Mets in Game 1, it was up to you to get your club back on track. An even more serious state of affairs tonight, down 2-0. We all know no one's ever lost the first 3 and then come back.
Well, it was, we weren't in that corner, like I said, but we were leaning towards it. And for us to come out and shoot and drop a 4 spot on him in the first inning, I think that was crucial. That was important, and by no means was the whole ball game, as it turns out it was, but that was very crucial. And Lenny with that leadoff home run, I was sitting out in the bullpen when I watched it. It gave everyone, I could feel this bench in here and that bench out there. I could feel it. Everybody felt good.
Are you a different guy a year later than when you left the Red Sox, or is it the same Bob Ojeda?
I'm the same. You saw some of these plays made tonight when Wally Backman turned that play. That was just outstanding. It was so big. Raffy picked one of Jim Rice's balls that he hit hard. Raffy picked it and made it look routine. Those things right there add up over a whole season, and I'm just surrounded with a great bunch of guys.
Was your pitch selection, your approach, any different than it might have been, let's say, in mid-season '85 when you were with the Red Sox?
No, going basically with what we've been going with, but these guys know me a little bit, so we tried to vary it a little bit in certain situations. And just like next time, I'm pitching game 6, so, you know, we might change that. But tonight was big for us. It was important for us, and we won it. And now this one's over with, though, and now we have to look at tomorrow.
Bob Ojeda, thanks very much, and congratulations on a fine job tonight.
Thank you, Bob.
Let's go back upstairs to Vin Scully and Joe Garagiola.
All right, Bob, we'd just like to remind you folks to stay tuned following local news for The Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson, except on the West Coast and most Mountain Time Zone stations, where it will be seen at its regular time. So the Mets are still alive. 2-1, the series in favor of the Red Sox. Ron Darling, a Massachusetts boy, against Al Nipper, who's from San Diego.
I think we're seeing the two ball clubs now. We'll see them tomorrow night play the way they played to get here. Bob Ojeda said it. They came out of the chute, picked them up, and now we got a series.
I think the emotion that was spent in the league championship series, then the almost casual attitude during the layoff time, now the series is underway. Till tomorrow night, from Fenway Park in Boston, for Joe Garagiola, this is Vin Scully. Looking forward to chatting with you tomorrow and wishing you a pleasant good evening.
Promotional fee has been paid to NBC by United Airlines, serving 13 cities in Asia and the Pacific. United, a fresh breeze across the Pacific.
This has been a presentation of NBC Sports.